Hey, what's up? This is Leah Pritchett.
Hey, this is David Barton.
This is Chris Holbrook. This is Archie Cohn.
And this is Factory Stock Showdown.
And I am your host, Joe Costello, with you. The samtech.edu Factory Stock Showdown season is about to begin, and Factory Stock Podcast is where you will hear the inside interviews from the stars like this one.
You know, like my mom always told me when I strapped in the car, you know, when you get that starting line, kick their ass, you know, so that's what I intend to do, you know.
Chris Holbrook going after it in 2019. Cobra Jet Mustangs, Drag Pack Challengers, Copo Camaros, all battling on the 1320 for manufacturer supremacy. FCA, Ford, and Chevrolet with just one goal.
You win on Sunday and you sell cars on Monday.
The factories are back, the cars are fast, and the drivers are ready. Stars like Beau Butner, Jeff Turk, Mark Powick, Drew Skillman, David Barton, Leah Pritchett, Daddy Warbucks, Don Fazell, and more. You'll hear them on Factory Stock Podcast as the 2019 samtech.edu Factory Stock Showdown season begins. Now is the time. Factory Stock Podcast. Go to Apple Podcast, click subscribe. The first 2 episodes are ready to drop. You're not going to want to miss it. Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcasts, Factory Stock Podcast.
It's time for an inside look at the most powerful motorsport on the planet. WFO Radio, NHRA Nitro.
It's the most exciting sport on earth as far as I'm concerned.
Take a walk through the Nitro pits as we go one-on-one with the stars of drag racing.
Hi, I'm Courtney Forrest.
I'm Tony Schumacher.
Hey, you're with Matt Hagan.
This is Ron Capps, Matt Hagan's personal friend. You're on WFO.
Featuring the NHRA's Alan Reinhardt.
Our events are truly an experience. They're not just a spectator event. They are an experience.
So get in, sit down, and hold on with host Joe Costello as he goes WFO.
Thanks, brother. Always love being on WFO, baby. Nobody brings it to you better than you, brother.
Now crank it up. It's time to go WFO. Here's your host, Joe Costello.
What's up, NHRA fans? Welcome back to WFO Radio, NHRA Nitro, and we have got the 50th Amalie Motor Oil NHRA Gatornationals winners on this show. Robert Hight going to be on the show, funny car winner, very consistent hot rod, got it done, and Robert Hight will be on the show. Also on the show, Richie Crampton, back-to-back years. Robert Hight has won 4 Gatornationals of the last 8, and Richie Crampton has won the last 2 back-to-back. Robert and Richie going to be on WFO Radio. Also on the show, Beau Butner and Randy Lynn Shipp, who both won the Gatornationals. How cool is that? Beau in Pro Stock, Randy Lynn in Stock, and Randy Lynn will be up first. Also, Andrew Hines, Screaming Eagle, Vance and Hines, Harley Davidson, set the ET record, dominant fashion, 49th career victory for Andrew, but just his second at the Gatornationals. Also on the show, Mike Mullany, who welded the chassis, and I think that's going to be kind of cool. As we're trying to focus and put more spotlight on the guys and girls behind the scenes, crew members and such, that are really getting the job done. Mike Mullany going to be on this show. Also, Lucas Oil Top Alcohol category winners, Megan Meyer and Sean Bellemeur will be on the show, and Beau Layne. So you've got a ton of 50th Amalie Motor Oil NHRA Gatornationals winners on this show. We gave Alan Reinhardt the weekend off because we did a full breakdown last week. And so we are going to get ready to rock and roll. I do want to tell you we have great sponsors who make it all possible. Guys like Marvin Rodak, RodaksCoffeeandGrills.com, and MotorsportsGuys.com, Samtech.edu. And hopefully you've already downloaded that Factory Stock Podcast, Samtech.edu, doing a special podcast with WFO Radio, and you can subscribe on iTunes if you haven't already heard. We've got Drew Skillman. We have got David Barton. We've got a little audio from Beau Butner that you're going to hear on this show. Going to be good stuff. Maybe Mark Powick working on some other stories for Factory Stock Podcast to wrap up race 1 of the 2019 season. That is going to be kind of cool. Also, FrankHawley.com, the Dragster Adventure. Why wouldn't you want to go on the Dragster Adventure? HusseyPerformance.net, copperhead gaskets, Hangstifer's metalworking lubricants, and Audible.com/WFO Nitro, all making WFO Radio NHRA Nitro podcast possible through their support, including Magic Dry and CatspotLitter.com. We got it all, baby. We got it all. All right, let's get into it. Joining us now, he won Funny Car at the 50th Amalie Motor Oil NHRA Gatornationals. In dominating fashion, really. Let's check in with him. Robert Hight. Robert, congratulations.
Thanks, Joe. How you doing?
I'm great. You've had a week or so for it all to sink in. You've won many big races. I don't know if any of them had been hyped for a whole year, though. How does it feel to win the Gators?
Oh, it's huge. Richie Crampton said it the best. It was a legend race, and all the legends were there. It was cool to get to see them and talk to them. The guys, all the guys that I grew up watching and, just dreaming about trying to be like them someday. And now it's kind of the other way around. They're watching us. So it was pretty cool. But, man, oh, man, it seems like it's been a long time since we've raced, and we still have another week off. I hate this.
Yeah, well, you have the momentum, and you have obviously everything is going well, so you want to get out there every single weekend. And I get it. That was such a great event. Now, we got to see you a couple of times, saw you on the track walk, saw you, and you had just a look about you, like you knew, I don't want to say it this way, but that you were in the middle of something big, and clearly, come race day, you guys threw it down. Domination.
This is the car that I'm driving right now is something everybody dreams about, having a car like this that, we're not totally dominating, I wouldn't say that, but we're consistently just a little faster than everybody else. And usually when you're like that, you're on the edge and it smokes the tires a lot, but this thing isn't doing that. It's going up and down the track every run. In fact, there was a 3-run period in Gainesville where over the 3 runs, my ETs varied by 2,000s, and all of those ETs would have been low ET of the event. So, pretty impressive.
Yeah, that's domination. All right, you don't want to call it that, but I'll call it that.
But
my goodness.
But you don't have it's hard to have a fuel car be that consistent. I mean, they've got a great handle on it, and I'm proud. We've got some new guys. We've got some guys that have changed positions, and it's just right now it's flawless. And like I said, though, these other guys, when you run like this and do this well, you're going to push them to work harder, and they'll be coming. There's just too many good cars for this to stay, kind of the momentum going in our favor.
Absolutely. Real quick before we get into your round by round, grade the track, the surface, new surface. Last year, Vegas had a new surface, and everybody said, oh, my gosh, that's the smoothest track surface we've ever seen. And then Richmond, new surface, and everyone said, oh, my gosh, this is the smoothest track surface we've ever seen. Where does Gainesville, is it in the same neighborhood as those other great track surfaces? We don't have to say one is better than the other necessarily. I just want to know it's as good as, and that the construction project was a success in your mind.
Yeah, they did a great job, and it's nice to see the investment. Concrete's always better than asphalt, so I do believe it was a step in the right direction. And we also, saw a lot of close side-by-side racing, so that shows that both lanes are good. NHRA did a great job. I was a little nervous for the final round because we switched lanes. We had been running in the right lane all day, and Jimmy and Chris both believed that it just felt better in the left in the final, and it worked in our favor. In fact, Wilkerson said that he had troubles in the right lane. So I don't know if that was in some of their thinking, that Tim had trouble in the right lane or what, but it went in our favor. But it always makes you nervous when you change lanes.
Oh, well, exactly. We'll focus in on that momentarily because that was a lot of, second guessing being bantered about, or at very least, if it went the wrong way, then there would have been second guessing. But let's go back to first round where we got pushed back a little bit by the weather, unfortunately. And you go up against Terry Haddock, and there's a perfect example. You're the number one qualifier. Terry, got in, but 386.9 at 331.94, Robert. I know it's hard to back these cars off. You just got to do what they'll do and tune in the window. But still, that is very impressive. Low of the round, I guess.
Yeah, there's two different schools of thought when you're racing, somebody first round like that. It's like, okay, well, do we just back it off and make sure it goes down the track and try to get the win? Or are we confident enough in the setup that we have that, basically we qualified number one with another 386, that we can go up there with similar conditions and do it again? And that's the way Jimmy and Chris are racing right now, because they do have so much confidence in this race car. And so when you see their confidence, it rubs off on the driver. So, but a lot of times when you push that hard, you can mess up, and Terry Haddock will be right there to take you down.
Yeah, just like that. But you got down the racetrack and advanced to a second-round matchup against Ron Capps. And so to me, there are a lot of things that I would pay to see. But Jimmy Prock versus Ron Tobler, Robert Hight versus Ron Capps, it's kind of interesting in that the fans of the drivers say, oh, it's Hight versus Capps, and fans of the crew chief say it's Jimmy versus Ron. Either way, it is a mega matchup. You guys run 87.0 at 330.88, got down through there, left first by a couple of thou, and big victory as they didn't get down the racetrack.
Yeah, basically anytime you go up there to the starting line and race those guys, you've got to push. The track warmed up a little for second round, and you've got to be on your game, because they're capable of stepping up anytime. Ron's one of the greatest drivers ever. He never messes up. He really doesn't. He's just steady as can be, and it's a big matchup. It's fun to see those kind of rounds, as for fans that early. And this one went our way. There's been a lot of them that we race those guys, and it hasn't gone our way. Going up there, Jimmy said they're going to throw everything at it, so we better make sure we run good. And it was pretty impressive. But like I said, that was only 1,000ths off from first round, 2,000ths off from our fourth qualifying run. So those three runs there were very, very steady and consistent. It's just something you don't see in funny cars.
Absolutely. Well, in a conversation recently with Dickie Venables, he said people don't understand just going down the track under power, like from A to B, just the most basic of things, is really a challenging thing in these cars, let alone doing it to the 1,000th. I'm very close to low ET of the day every time down. Semifinals, you and the boss, you and John. John, to me, like John now versus John a year ago, is a totally different John Force. Like whatever the issues were in the cars and the dealing with the explosions and all that, that you suffered one a year ago at the Gatornationals, you and Hagan together. That seems like it's in the rearview mirror. Now, I know it's Nitro and anything can happen and things can come back again, but John seems to be in a much different place, a happier place, a better place. He's got Brian Karate now. Spoke with Brian early in the weekend. He's like, yeah, Jimmy's got an 85 out there, and you guys decided to uncork it against the boss.
Yeah, it's kind of unfortunate. We've had to race John all three first races, Pomona, Phoenix, and then Gainesville, and we're the ones that have beat him every race. So who knows? Maybe he's going to park me one of these days, and I don't get to go to the races. But he wants us to go up there and get after him. But I can tell you right now, you are 100% right. John is, in typical John Force fashion, he wants to win again. He wants to win a championship. His next win's going to be his 150th. I think he has a whole new lease on racing because of the crew chief and the team he has, and he feels he can win every race he goes to. So when John gets that attitude, you don't have to. He's a guy you don't have to teach how to win. When he gets confidence, man, look out.
Absolutely. And then final round, that's when the big lane swap happened. You'd been in the right lane all day, and then, let's go over to the left side of the racetrack. And Reinhardt was talking about it. Everybody was talking about it. Like, this is the ultimate in confidence. Like, we know what we're doing, and we're going to go over here because of something we've decided for whatever it is. Partly it might be better. Partly maybe the competition will be worse over on the other side. Like strategy, which is a big part of this. And you guys pulled it off. 86 with a 7 at 331.62. And just like that, you've won the Gatornationals. Again.
Pretty impressive. And, a lot of that goes back to, our Lanny McGleasy, who's up there on the racetrack, from sun up till sundown. Usually comes in on Wednesdays. And, he just felt that the left lane was better for the final. And you've got to trust your people. You got to trust the people that do their jobs. And I was pretty impressed that, he was that confident. And, sometimes you may make a lane swap and you hear on the radio, well, we're going to change lanes, but also make some changes to the car, take some weight off the clutch. Nope, we didn't do any of that. Just change lanes, run it like we brought it up there, and went right down the track and won. So Tim Wilkerson was running good. He was number 2 qualifier. So, he was right there with us. I think he ran 87, so he was only a few thou off of us. And, he's very, very steady. So good to get the win. I think it's only the second time Tim and I raced in the final. The last time was St. Louis when I had the big explosion. So it's good to see those guys running well.
You won this race in 012, 014, 016, now 019, 4 out of the last 8. You got 2 out of 3 at the start of this season. Like, everything is clicking now. And just kind of thinking about it, of course, Funny Car is the most competitive of all the Mellow Yellow Series categories, certainly at the moment. But maybe we're about to witness something special here in 2019 because you got everything that you can want, and Jimmy and Chris are working real well together. So I understand why you're excited to go back out there to Vegas 4 wide. But we're gonna try to trip you up a little bit, Robert, with the 4 wide thing.
Okay.
You don't care, right? You're down.
Nope. Bring it on. Actually, 4 wide suits what we're doing even better because, the first 2 rounds, all you have to do is, be first or second quick, first or second to the finish line, and you advance. So the way my car's running, that's pretty good. That's real good, in fact. So I like 4 wide. Won Charlotte a couple times. I didn't do very well in Vegas last year. But looking forward to it. The fans, they came out in droves last year. So hopefully we have another packed house, and I wish it was this weekend.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. Got to get momentum going again. We got to get the big mo. But after Vegas starts, we're rolling like almost every other weekend for the rest of the year. It's going to be crazy. Robert, congratulations. Very fun to watch you guys do it. And the way you guys just through qualifying the whole time, there was all kinds of extra emotions going on. I know Chris had a remembrance of the passing of his father. Daryl Gwynn had a big event. Of course, those two worked together. There were a lot of heartstrings and emotional aspects to this race. But in the end, you guys were able to, capture the energy of those moments and translate it into a great performance on the racetrack. Good job. Thank you for coming on the show.
Thanks for having me, and hopefully we can talk again after Vegas.
Yeah, you're slotting yourself in for this funny car position throughout the year, it looks like. I have no doubt we're going to be having the listeners send in questions for Robert Hight at some point. You're down with that, right?
Definitely. We've got you on speed dial, Joe.
There you go. Robert, thank you very much. We'll see you in Vegas. Congratulations on your Gatornationals win.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Robert Hight with us here on WFO Radio, NHRA Nitro. It's a little different when Alan doesn't lead it off, but diving right in with the drivers this week, and we are going to keep on going. When we get back, it's going to be Richie Crampton, Beau Butner, Randi, Layne, Andrew Hines, all going to be on the show. It's like winners only, right? And me. I'm on here. But that is it. We're diving into the race winners on this edition of WFO Radio. Now, I want to remind you guys about motorsportsguys.com. Terry McMillan, mail order business, Amalie Motor Oil, and just about all the parts and pieces that you could possibly need. They're based in Elkhart, Indiana. And Terry used to be AmalieStore.com. And realized, man, there's a whole lot going on out there in parts and pieces, and really put together an excellent new project. So check out motorsportsguys.com. And if you're a Nitro team and you're looking for Amalie Motor Oil, they certainly have it. But they also have oil for your own car, parts and filters, K&N air filters, all of that. So your next oil change, get it at motorsportsguys.com. Terry McMillan, certainly doing a great job. The Amalie Exterminator didn't have the Gatornationals that they were looking for, but they're going to get right back on the horse. Once again, based in Elkhart, Indiana, motorsportsguys.com. Check them out. All right, when we come back, it'll be Richie Crampton after this.
This is WFO Radio.
Hangstafers, metalworking lubricants. Folks at Hangstafers on board with big racers like Antron Brown and Lucas Oil Series, or sportsman racers in the Racing RV's Top Dragster category. And their number one goal at Hangstafers is to increase the productivity in the shop. Metalworking lubricants, coolants, all kinds of stuff. You got to go to the website and check them out. And so go to hangstafers.com to find out more information. Alan Reinhardt always says, like, the one thing that DSR and JFR have in common is Hangstafers metalworking lubricants. We're happy to have them on board, happy to have them helping our WFO radio listeners in their shop. Hangstafers metalworking lubricants, trying to make you a little more efficient in the shop.
Hey, this is Scott Palmer, driver of the NHRA Cat Spot Litter Top Fuel Dragster. Do you have a cat? Go to catspotlitter.com. Order it today. All natural product made out of coconuts, 100% biodegradable. All you NHRA fan cat owners, support our team. Go to catspotlitter.com.
Hey, this is Joe Costello, and we'll be back to the show in a second. But first, I want to tell you about CompetitionPlus.com. There's a reason CompetitionPlus.com is the leader among drag racing electronic magazines. Their trained staff is always on alert and always asking the tough questions. The end result is hard-hitting drag racing journalism with up-to-the-minute reporting. For over a decade, CompetitionPlus.com has been a pioneer as drag racing's go-to source for the latest in news, race coverage, and high-quality photography. Their trained staff thrives on getting the inside stories, and their columnists study their topics before they hit their first keystroke. When it comes to covering the races, they leave you feeling as if you've actually been to the race. CompetitionPlus.com is an honest-to-goodness, free drag racing magazine published by the most passionate of drag racing fans, who just happen to be journalists. Don't wonder what's going on in the drag racing world. Be in the know daily. Log on to CompetitionPlus.com.
Subscribe to WFO Radio on iTunes. Never miss a show. And don't forget to write a review. WFO.
Now back to WFO Radio, NHRA Nitro.
Welcome back to NHRA Nitro, WFO Radio. Gatornationals winners, Richie Crampton coming up, Beau and Randi Layne, others. Megan Meyer, Sean Bellemeur, Beau Layne, all going to be on the show. Andrew Hines, Mike Mullany, all going to be on the show as we wrap up the 50th Amalie Motor Oil NHRA Gatornationals. You might be wondering, where's the Samtech Factory Stock Showdown winner? That is on Factory Stock Podcast, which you should subscribe and review and all that stuff. And it's brought to you by the School of Automotive Machinists and Technology. Start your education at full speed with the School of Automotive Machinists and Technology. Accelerate your career as a high-performance engine builder with classroom instruction and practical hands-on experience in the lab, on the dyno, and at the track. They've got blockhead CNC programs, but they've also now got motorsport EFI tuning. How important is that? Also an Associate of Applied Science degree. SAM is a military-friendly school, approved to train veterans and other eligible persons under the GI Bill. Start your education at full speed. Go to samtech.edu today. All right, let's get into it. Joining us now, he was the top fuel winner at the Amalie Motor Oil NHRA Gatornationals 50th anniversary, back-to-back seasons at the Gators. For this guy, Richie Crampton. Richie, congratulations.
Thanks, Joe.
Wow. That's the Gatornationals. You have won the biggest races. I make this point every time we speak because it seems like when you win, it's some sort of major, right? Like a historical major or a major, whether it be the Summer Nationals or the U.S. Nationals, now the Gatornationals twice. What's up with that?
I don't know, man. I don't know how I've been so fortunate to do well at those races, and especially to do it at Gainesville this past weekend was pretty special. The 50th Gainesville race, huge race in our calendar, and with all the legends there and everything that surrounded that awesome event, it was just amazing to get the win for the team.
Separate yourself completely from your winning performance. I know it's going to be challenging, but just take yourself back to the event. And we had a huge overseas contingent. We had all the legends. We had, some threatening weather, but we got through it. Do you feel like the event lived up to the year of hype?
Yeah, I feel like it did. I mean, there was an awesome crowd there, as you said. People from, my hometown of Australia, in Australia, all the way through to Europe and everything. But it turned out to be a great weekend. I think we worked through the weather issues and having the legends and everything that they did for us while they were there during the weekend, and their racing and everything was cool. And I think also, just yesterday, I was able to catch up and watch the TV, a recorded rerun of the TV broadcast of the whole event. And what they did with that was really cool as well. So I really enjoyed it. Obviously I'm a little bit, my outlook on it's a little different to everyone else because they come away with the trophy. But no, I really enjoyed the race weekend. I think the fans did, and I think the NHRA and everyone involved did a great job at promoting such a big event.
Yes, it was a year worth of work, and in the end, like the positives completely outweighed any negatives that there might have been. All right, let's talk a little bit about eliminations. In that, anytime you got to stage up against Antron Brown first round, there's a chance it's going to be a short day, but you got around him. Now, you made a big point in the media center, like you were not happy with your performance on the starting line right there. He's 54, you're 92, but you know what? Team sport. You guys got it down through there, and he spun the tires. So now you're starting off the day with a round win and, get that momentum going.
Yeah, no, it's always tough lining up against Antron, and we were pretty lucky to get through that first round of eliminations. I'd kind of been mediocre on the tree all through qualifying, and I was pumped up and ready to go for first round eliminations, and we knew we'd have a big race on our hands. But I, for whatever reason, caught myself daydreaming, and then I was dead late against Antron. But just super lucky that we made it down through there, made a good run. You hate to win, like that, but heck, you need that one lucky race of the day, and I think that was probably the luckiest round of the day for me, even though it went on to be some other interesting rounds later in the day as well. But yeah, big win against Antron in the first round, and I don't take that lightly. They're an awesome team, and he's a great driver, probably one of the best we'll ever see. So yeah, we could have easily been going home after that first round, but we got through it.
And a big round streak at the Gatornationals continues. Then second round, Leah Pritchett, the competition. That was a very interesting race in that whatever you left on the table in reaction time first round, you got it back second round, and a big hole shot victory.
Yeah, that was pretty big, man. I mean, again, when you were racing another Schumacher car, and Leah can be good when she's on, and I wanted to win, man. And we're desperate for round wins, so I did my thing. I probably staged it a little bit deeper than regular, which kind of showed that the 60-foot time was just a tad off from our other rounds of racing. But nonetheless, I was pretty amped up to try and get that round win, and ended up being a pretty good race for the fans, I think, because it was pretty close at the start.
Let's focus in on that for a moment, because you just said something that's interesting to me. When you said you rolled it in deep, was that like rolled it in deep a little on accident because you were amped up, or rolled it in deep because the round win was so important, it was worth giving up any potential ET to make sure you got through the round. There's been a lot of debate about whether rolling in deep is it a good thing? Is it a bad thing? Should people stop doing it? People get credit for great reaction times when they don't deserve it. That conversation, Richie. You know all about it. So in that, because you're a contemporary, excellent driver, so maybe you did it to get through this round.
Yeah, I mean, so it's a big discussion you can have about, the amount of room that we have to stage the front tires within those staging beams. And, you can be deep enough to turn the top light out. That's really deep, of course. And we see that from time to time, mainly in the funny car category. But it's just one of them things where I didn't feel like lane choice was going to be a big deal on race day. So I figured if I took a little bit of a bite out of the tree and kind of shortened up the racetrack by an inch or two, that could be the deciding factor. And that's what I ended up doing. I mean, our car had been going 845, to the 60-foot mark. And on that particular run, it went 855. So, I figure my 024 was still somewhere in the mid to high 030 range on reaction. So I wasn't super deep, but I definitely wasn't flickering the bulb like I would have been in qualifying or anything like that. But yeah, there's something to be said for that whole thing. And, you can talk to purists like Sean Langdon and J.R. Todd and everyone within my camp. And we live and die by those reaction time numbers, of course. And at the end of the year, you kind of want to look at as a driver, what your average was for the year. Well, if you roll it in deep every weekend, you're going to end up with a lot more favorable reaction time average for the season. But us drivers know that that's not really the case. You're maybe not quite as good as those numbers are when you're in deep like that, and just kind of make yourself look a little bit better. So it's just one of them things. It's just how the tree works, and it's up to you where you want to stage the race car. So that being said, got off the starting line first, whether it was deep or not, and got to the finish line first with a great run by my team. So that was what really mattered.
And that's my whole argument in the debate, because in the end, okay, there's a whole lot of conversation about it, but I keep saying on race day, you do whatever it takes to get to the finish line first and advance. And if you just know, man, I got to roll it in deep to do whatever I got to do, then you do what you got to do. That's part of the gamesmanship and, racecraft that people can employ. And so to hear you, a young driver, a winning driver on a big team, you mentioned Sean and JR, that, there's a conversation about it. The fact that you went out and then you won the race, I feel like it proves the point. I feel like the argument is over.
Yeah. I mean, there's definitely something there. And whether us drivers want to kind of overanalyze these numbers at the end of the year and who's deep and who's not, that's one thing. But I know if you would look back at when, for instance, we had pretty much a dead heat between Doug and JR when JR was still in Dragster a few years ago. I bet one of them wished that, possibly JR wished that he would have rolled it in another inch or two, and that would have been the deciding factor because, that's how closely we're winning and losing races by at the moment. But all that being said, yeah, it was, that's just kind of one of the fun elements of what we get to do out there, and you just got to play the game.
Right. Semifinals, TJ Zizzo, they were a little bit of a Cinderella story going to the semifinals. Every time they show up, they end up with a quick and fast hot rod, and TJ gets it down through there, and Mike Kern's got it tuned up. But in the end, you guys left pretty much together. He got off the starting line a little bit ahead of you. But now, though, you put together your best run of the weekend, a 73 with a 4 at 326. So things coming around. Conrad and Kurt Elliott, and tell me about how it's going through eliminations to the point where now you guys got it sorted out and lay down a really strong pass in the semis.
Yeah, well, we had been watching, Zizzo had been running good in qualifying, of course, and then on race day, and we knew that he could step up and bite us. We weren't taking them lightly at all. They were doing a great job all weekend. So, again, I just went up there and did my more normal, starting line procedure and made a good run. And by that point in the day, you've been a couple of rounds of racing already. The confidence is there in your race car. Me as a driver and the team are, doing everything they need to do between rounds well and giving me a great race car. So, that was just a situation where we went up there and did our normal thing. And Connie and Kurt Elliott had been kind of pecking away at the tune-up all day. And as you said, it was one of our, better runs for the weekend against Zizzo. And we're just fortunate to get around him. As I said, we weren't taking them guys lightly. For part-timers, man, they got everyone's attention.
They really do. And I wish that they could be out on a more regular basis because they got their own character and flavor that they bring out there. So here we go, final round. Real quick, give me a comment on the track surface. So, smoothness factor, 1 to 10.
From sitting in the race car and going down the drag strip, it was awesome. It was as smooth as I would, think that we've seen at any racetrack that's fresh like that. But I know there was a little bit of concern that, maybe with the weather and the freshness of the racetrack surface that it might not be spectacular, but it turned out to, offer up some pretty good racing conditions. So I think they, particularly the NHRA safety safari did a great job with, getting the racetrack good for race day. And that's why we saw some good side-by-side races like that. But as far as overall smoothness end to end, I can't remember ever feeling a bump at all, to tell you the truth.
Good. So on par with Virginia and Vegas, like in the same neighborhood as those two tracks that everybody loves.
Yeah, I'd have to say so.
That's great. This whole project, like I had heard some thoughts before we were at the track that some people were saying that it might not be great. And to hear everyone, for the most part, say, hey, it turned out okay, even with some of the dust coming up in the first qualifying sessions, that's just the power of Nitro. Pretty amazing. So final round, Clay Milliken is over there. And boy, did this mean a lot to those guys. Mike Klober, Doug Stringer, they basically had to reassemble their whole team. And so they were super hungry and running well, as were you, to go back-to-back. So this race is going to be epic regardless, but it just lived up to the hype. You're 042, he's 058. You're 376.9, he's 375.6. So that's the Alan Reinhart proverbial little baby hole shot. Proverbial.
Yeah, man, it was. I know Clay is as hungry or hungrier than me to win, some more drag races. And I just wanted to win bad. I mean, I hate getting to a final round and not sealing the deal, from any way, shape, or form. Even back to when I was a crew member, you race 3 rounds of eliminations and go up there for the final and go home runner-up, basically with nothing to show for it. Definitely takes the wind out of your sails. So, I wanted to win. I love them high-pressure finals. We didn't have the smoothest kind of turnaround before that last round. We had some issues in the pit and not anything that we had done, just one of a small electrical wire was the problem, and
a gremlin.
All 4 gremlin, but all 3 of the other Toledo Motorsports teams come over and helped, which was awesome to see the teamwork within the whole camp, getting my DHL dragster up there for the final round. But it's hard to not get carried away when, you're going into a final or having some issues in the pit, and then go up there and calm down and try and do your job and win the race. But that's kind of what I really enjoy as a driver, is that pressure and, kind of living in that moment of going up there to try and win a drag race, particularly as big a drag race as the 50th Gatornationals. But Clay and that whole team, Jimo's over there now, and he's a great guy, and Clover and everyone, man, it was, I'm sure he was probably part fan favorite because he's a hell of a guy, Clay, but just we didn't take him lightly, and just lucky to get to the finish line first. But, man, that could have gone either way.
Yeah, absolutely. But it went your way, and you won the Gatornationals, and, Reg is in the house, and you got the new scheme on this dragster. And I got to say, it's one of the nicest, real corporate-looking dragsters out there. Like, it moves fast, sitting still, and then it moves fast. So, Connie's happy. Kurt's happy. Kurt, which that's a great story. Like, people who don't really know the Kurt Elliott story, like, he was doing great, and then he was unemployed, and then, he started showing back up at the track, and then he got a gig, and now he won the the Gatornationals for the 50th anniversary. Like, that's a great story, and you've got back-to-back going on at the Gator. So tell me a little bit about all that and how you guys celebrated.
Well, yeah, firstly, for me, it's really cool that things have come full circle with me and Kurt. I worked under him here at Lucas for Morgan Lucas quite some few years ago. And, so to have him as a crew chief when I was a crew member and now to be a co-crew chief when I'm a driver for him, we have a ton of fun. He just brings so much, so many good vibes to the team, I guess you'd say. He's such a good dude, and he and Connie are just working awesome together. So he also being that he lives in Florida, that was a big one for us to get him that win at his kind of hometown race, and he's been doing this stuff for a million years, and it's pretty cool to stand in the winner's circle with Kurt and Connie. But yeah, we didn't have a big celebration. By that time of the day, it was getting pretty dark, pretty late, and the guys had a lot of work to do to tear down. But we got out of the racetrack about 9:30, and fortunately, we were able to find a table at the good old ale house and have some dinner and kind of enjoy the day. But I, of course, stayed and tested on Monday, so I had a quiet night and just really. I don't think it really started soaking in until Monday evening when I was flying home with JR and everyone that I'd won that big race again. But no, just a great weekend, and looking forward to trying to do it again at Vegas at the 4-wide.
Yes, Vegas 4-wide is next. So now the season really begins. I love the layered start to the season. We got 2 West Coast races, then the East Coast opener, and then a 4-wide. So you get a taste of everything right at the start, and we're headed back to Vegas 4-wide. People love it, people hate it. I have learned to love and appreciate the uniqueness of 4-wide, especially if it's going to sell out the spring race in Vegas or sell a lot of tickets.
Yeah, it's definitely an interesting race for sure. And as a driver, sometimes you love it, sometimes you hate it. And I always loved it because it, not necessarily leveled the playing field a little more, but just added a few more elements to your racing that, maybe changed the dynamic of just not just trying to beat one person, but beat a couple. And, the starting line procedure can be tricky, even for us people that have done it for several seasons. But I always enjoyed it. I got kind of discouraged by it in Charlotte when we had some staging issues last year. But that being said, I'm just looking forward to doing it. I know, JR won that race last year, and that was pretty cool. So I think our race car's running good, and I'm confident in my driving right now, and I'm pretty excited to get out there and try and get myself a 4-wide trophy for Connie and Toyota and everyone that put me out there.
Finally, what's up with the SB of death?
Of doom.
Not
much,
doom.
Man. It's
of death. Of doom. Both very ominous.
Sitting around. We're actually we need to retrieve some parts off of it so that Johnny Lindbergh and his brother Johan can race the Charlotte race coming up in a few weeks. So the blower's coming off it, the clutch and all that stuff's coming out of it, and it's just kind of been sitting around ever since I guess PRI last year is the last time it kind of went outdoors and was on display down there. But we're not sure what we're going to do with that car yet. It's kind of it's fun and all, and if I didn't have a young family at home and a full-time Top Fuel gig, my outlook on it would be probably a little bit different because it is a lot of work and a lot of energy from a lot of people to do what me and Lindbergh did last year. But nonetheless, it's a lot of fun and probably one of the cooler car things that probably I'll ever venture to do in my lifetime. It was definitely made a lot of people smile. So we'll be looking at it here when the weather gets a little better up here around Indianapolis and maybe test it or whatever. But maybe not. We'll just see what happens.
No, I love the fact that parts from it are going to go into competition. Like, that's crazy in and of itself, right? Like, yeah, we're going to pull the supercharger, and then Johan's going to go out there and race at Charlotte. Like, to me, that's part of the fun of the thing. That you guys really did. The point was made. The historic point was already made.
Yeah, and that was pretty cool. Actually, the blower and all the stuff on the race car was used at Indy for the U.S. Nationals when Gary Pritchett drove Johnny's car. just a few days prior to when we took it away on drag week. So yeah, it's definitely it's got some stuff about it, I guess you'd say.
Yeah, no, definitely. Well, listen, Richie, congratulations on your win. Here we are a week later. It's soaked in, and I appreciate that. It's a huge victory. Every Gatornationals is a mammoth race. It's one of the crown jewels, and you got a thing going on there. Back-to-back wins, top fuel, great job. It was a fun event. We got it in, all the big important information. Thank you for making the time for us here on the WFO Radio podcast.
Yep, thanks as always, Joe, and look forward to talking to you again sometime soon.
Thanks, Richie. Richie Crampton with us here on WFO Radio NHRA Nitro, the top fuel winner, the funny car winner, getting us started off right here at the start of WFO Radio. Appreciate Richie. And if you like Nitro, our great friend Marvin Rodak, Rodak'sCoffeeandGrills.com, down there in Fort Worth, Texas, has also jumped on board supporting Funny Car Chaos. You've heard me talk about Funny Car Chaos, the blend of coffee, which you can get at Rodak'sCoffeeandGrills.com. But Funny Car Chaos is also a race down at North Star Dragway. So those of you who are listeners down there in Texas, this is where Marvin's going to be. And if you hit Marvin up on his Facebook page, there might even be some free tickets out there. So check that out. A26 guy, Marvin Rodak. He is in our feed on Facebook. You can find him on the web. He is in our WFO groups. Marvin Rodak has got some tickets to North Star Dragway that he's making it happen. So check it out. Bottom line, though, Funny Car Chaos, it's a great thing, but great barbecue is maybe even better. Hot sauces and spice rubs and the coffee in the morning, whole bean, or if you want it ground, that's up to you also. Now, I like to get it whole bean, but that's up to you. Go to Rodak'sCoffeeandGrills.com to check out exactly what he's got going on. And when it shows up, the aroma is going to hit you in the face, and you're going to love it. Whether it be something exotic like the Costa Rica Back Honey, or maybe it's the Funny Car Chaos Limited Reserve, that is entirely up to you. But give Marvin a call. Pick up the phone, 817-924-6821, and tell him you heard about it on WFO. And if you're going out to North Star Dragway, you could track him down. He's working on like 3 cars out there, burning a little nitro. Good luck, Marvin, and everybody with Funny Car Chaos out there at North Star Dragway. All right, everybody. When we come back, we'll shift gears into Pro Stock, and we're going to start it off with Stock Eliminators winner Randi Shipp, followed by Beau Butner. Both of them coming up after this.
It ain't just wide open, it's WFO.
Hussey Performance copper head gaskets. Do you make big power? That's the question. Hussey Performance specializes in quality copper gaskets to your exact specs. Any bore, any size and thickness. From 500 cubic inch nitro burning Hemis to turbocharged Pro Mods to Honda engines or even big tractors, Hussey Performance makes the gaskets. If you're a racer, you're thinking about, well, how long does this take? Typically less than a week. They want to help you make the race. Next day shipping is also available. What to do? You got to call David directly, 724-318-8292, or go to husseyperformance.net. And one more thing, it's all made in America, including the machines they use. That is huge. 724-318-8292, Hussey Performance, copper head gaskets for you engine builders out there. These guys are supporting WFO. Check them out. It is husseyperformance.net.
Get fired up on the WFO line.
WFO, Joe.
954-889-6796.
It's been an absolute joy to be a drag racing fan.
Go wide open, and your call may be used on the show.
Or preface by saying I'm not a Kurt Busch fan or apologist. I don't know where Greg Anderson's ego has gone, but I know one person that's going to be a big-time villain in Pro Stock.
That's 954-889-6796. That phone line is always WFO.
Drag Racing Edge. That's the magazine. Subscribe online. Get the issues, $24.95. Keep up with your favorite sport, whether it be NHRA Mellow Yellow, Lucas Oil Series action. They cover drag radial. They cover it all. Drag Racing Edge magazine.
Hey, what's up, WFO Universe? It's Kathy Fisher. Join me along with Joe Costello every Sunday morning on Motor Trend for Performance TV. That's 8:30 a.m. Eastern. We'll see you then.
Now, back to WFO Radio, NHRA Nitro.
NHRA Nitro, WFO Radio. Write us a review if you get an opportunity. What is it? Download, rate, review. There you have it. Randi, Layne, Shipp, Beau, Butner coming up momentarily, but right now I want to tell you about Frank Harley. Frank Harley's drag racing school, the Dragster Adventure. That's what I think you guys should be going on. Just tasting the speed for the very first time. Going through that experience with Frank Harley. Maybe you're a diehard bracket racer. All right, Dragster Adventure might not be for you. But if you are a racing fan, Dragster Adventure will light up your face. You will love it. You'll be super thrilled. To go 0 to 60 in 3 seconds, to go 130 miles per hour in the quarter mile side-by-side racing. Come on now. The Dragster Adventure. And they got Dragster Adventures coming up in Fontana, California, and Joliet, Illinois, Baytown, Texas, Woodburn, Norwalk, Ohio, Reading, Pennsylvania, and then back to Fontana, California. Give them a call, 866-480-7223. That is the Dragster Adventure at frankharley.com. And next up, she was the stock eliminator winner at the 50th Amalie Motor Oil NHRA Gatornationals. What a win. Joining us now, Randi, Layne, Shipp. Randi, Layne, 50th Gatornationals. You won it. How does that feel?
It feels kind of like a dream come true. The Division 2 and 3, anytime that you win in them, people think, oh, it's the real deal. So not only to win in Division 2, a big event like the Gators, but for it to be the 50th was absolutely unbelievable.
The biggest in that so many racers couldn't even get into the race. And that's something I think our Nitro fans who listen to the podcast on a regular basis maybe don't understand. Like sometimes it's hard to even get into and enter a race. This one may be the hardest ever. Every past champion, everybody coming out of the woodwork to try their luck at winning that 50th Wally, and you won it.
I did. It's crazy, huh?
It is crazy. So let's talk a little bit about it, because we have had you on the show in the past, and you're on Stock Eliminator World Tour. Beau is out there running pro stock and getting the opportunity to run national events. But this one rolling in, you guys didn't even run the points race. It was like a calculated strategy. Instead of showing up to the Baby Gators and running Stock Eliminator, you guys were across the state running the showdown car, and you had a bit of bad luck over there. I haven't spoken with you about it, but we know how much you love your car, and something went down. What have you blocked it totally out? What can you tell us about that?
Well, everybody thinks that I would have been like so crazily mad, but really we kind of had a tight spot of parking, so I had to park out in like behind where our trailer closes up. And where I was parked, it was kind of in a grassy area in the mornings. We had some dew and it was wet. So a guy on a scooter kind of hit the gas while he was in the grass, and his scooter just got loose, and he hit the door of my passenger side on my Firebird. And it made a huge loud thump, and he was okay and everything. The only thing that wasn't okay was my car, because it left a huge, huge dent in the side. But I didn't freak out or nothing. Like, little things kind of like that happen. And I told Beau exactly when it happened. Like, usually when something bad like that happens, like, something good follows. So I didn't stress over it too much. And sure enough, like, I was right. Like, something great happened. So.
Wow. Who knows what's good or bad? So there was a death sentence, and the guy was put to death on the spot. No.
Well, he ended up being like a really nice guy, and he was actually working there to help park cars and stuff like that. And with having used car dealerships and stuff like Beau does, I didn't worry about it too much. We fix things all the time. So it's actually at paint shop right now, probably getting sprayed and fixed back up.
Well, there you go. And that's exactly the point. You took it in stride and come across the state and get parked and get ready for the Gatornationals. You were going there to win, of course, but it was a little different schedule in that we're preparing for potential weather, which we did have. And so Rich from Division 2 was trying to get ahead. And so Thursday, time runs and eliminations. Like, you had to dive right in and go. It wasn't a typical scheduled race. Everything was kind of accelerated. And I'm wondering if that was a good thing for you.
Well, I tend to do pretty well when we have events where you have lots of rounds at the same time, or, round robining, like they call it. But I don't like the Thursday rounds. I don't like it for our sport. I feel like It does a lot of different things, and I feel like fans don't get to be a part of it, and we don't get to be a part of the show sometimes. So I'm not a big fan of the Thursday night rounds, but I understand why they had to do them like that this year for the Gators, because they had so many things planned. And, they ended up finishing the race on Saturday night, and that was another thing that, it's kind of hit or miss. Like, no sportsman racer really wants to not be a part of the big show on Sunday. On the other hand, it did rain, and, at least we got to finish. We didn't have to stay till Monday and finish our event. People got to go back home and go to work. So I can see both sides of it, but it's definitely a crazy schedule, and it throws a lot of people off when they have to do that.
There you have it. So they call you to the lanes. We call you to the lanes. Round 1, and you got to run, I guess, Carl Martel. And I'm bringing this up on DragRaceCentral.com, which gives a nice summary, like a really nice summary of who the 2 finalists ran en route to the final round. So tell me about getting started, as in it's time for eliminations. Did you give yourself like a little talking to, or did you feel comfortable? Did you feel good? Did you have any indication that this was your weekend?
No way ever did I feel like it was my weekend. I started off out of the gate horrible. You can probably tell me what was my first light.
121, but he was 083 too, right? Was he? Were you 083 and he was 121? Anyway, you guys were both way off.
Yeah, we both. I mean, some people said, "Oh, the sun was hitting the tree at a weird spot" and stuff like that. I don't think anything like that. I was just late. I don't know if I wasn't ready. Sometimes you get first round jitters, but I don't even know that it was that, because I just was not on my game. And, when I have a round like that, like, you just think, shoo, I got by, let's pick it up. Like, you got a blessing, like, don't screw it up the next round. You got every round is a new race. So, you can't really get too hung up on those.
Right. Well, whatever it was got you both. And that's why I think some people might have said it. Sometimes the trees come at you in a weird way. But second round, you got to go up against Dan Fletcher now. All right, so whatever is going to happen, it is real. You're going up against Fletcher. Fletcher trying to win the 50th. As everybody knows, he's one of the greatest of all time. Take me through that race. Like, oh, boy, here we go. Fletcher. It's not going to be easy.
Dan Fletcher is like my kryptonite if I was Superman. He is just like, if I'm going to screw up, even if I'm driving good that weekend, like, it's going to be against Dan. I don't know if it's all in my head or what, but I've made a lot of stupid mistakes against him in the past. And I go up there knowing that I needed to hit the tree. And the second my foot let go of that brake, I was like, oh, I was late. And, I got down there to the finish line, and I just told myself I thought I could be a few thou under, that my only hope was to hit my brakes a little bit, scrub a few off my ET, and hope that he breaks out. And so what ended up happening is I went down there and hit my brake a little bit, not very hard, though, and I think he's seen my front end go down and thought I was dumping a lot harder than what I really was. And then he gave it back to me by 0004.
0004, everybody. Think about that. That's 4/10,000ths of a second. Randy Lynn was 073. Fletcher's 038. She gave him a little signal down there that she was going to dump, and he gave it back by 4/10,000ths.
Yeah.
And wow.
Yeah.
So that's a big round right there. And the racing gods are smiling whenever you come out on the winning side of a 4/10,000th race.
Absolutely. Before I even got back to my pit area, I had a text message from Austin Williams that said, that might be your round of the year. I don't know anybody else that's beat Fletcher being 70 on the tree. And, we just kind of laughed about it, because I'm sure it wasn't a laughing matter for Fletch, but, it was definitely a blessing. And I have to say, like, it was just God's will for me to win that race, because, even round 1 or 2, I should have been beat either of those rounds. And I wasn't, I got to carry through. So
that's gets you through Thursday. The Fletcher run was Thursday night. Didn't we run 2 rounds of racing on Thursday?
No, just one. And then we ran Friday morning.
Yes. So then,
1 round, and then we ran another round Saturday morning.
Which was Brandon Bakey's, and Brandon goes 12 red against you, but you were 10. All of a sudden, you woke up on that day, and you were getting after it now.
Yeah, I was ready to race. If we could have kept racing that morning, I would have been awesome, I think. I don't know what the difference is, but I got a good night's sleep the night before, and I woke up feeling ready to win,
And then you were able to get by Brandon and the next round of racing, and this is a 6-rounder, everybody. So it's getting brutal. And at that point, Saturday night, we're running them to conclusion. We're going late night, and you had to go up against Roberts. You're 090 though, and he's 5-something. He had a problem next to you. Did that distract you?
Yeah, well, that was our first round at nighttime for this race where it was completely dark, and I was just a little bit nervous to go for it against him. Like, he did break beside me. I don't know that I've really seen that or not, but I just was nervous to really go for the tree because if I was too aggressive, I didn't want to be red. And once I seen my time ticket and I knew I was late, I thought, okay, I got to get it together. Like, I'm at this point, I'm going into the semis, and I said, we got to go for it. That's bottom line.
Now you got to go up against Slate, correct?
Yes, which
that's
everybody
not easy.
in the sportsman world knows that he's going to be good on the tree, and he's going to go down there and try to drive you. And I knew that going into that round. I just thought if I match him on the tree, and I can trust my car, I know what it's going to do. So hit the tree, and you'll be right there. And that's kind of what I did. I didn't dump down there. I didn't lift. I knew I could be a little bit under, but I thought as long as I hit the tree and he's trying to take the stripe on me, then I'm gonna come out all right. And the race didn't really go like that, but it still came out with the win light on my side.
Yeah, 003 reaction time to take down Slate and go to the final round. And it's very interesting now. Listeners need to know momentum. You start to feel it. What are you feeling as you go into the final round of the Gatornationals there? Fortunately, Beau is, totally done for the day at that point, hanging out. You guys are just doing your thing. It might, I don't know, is it a Saturday night bracket race for you? Is it a points race? Had you forgotten the fact this is for the 50th Gatornationals? We're running final rounds on Saturday night, which I think could have been an advantage. Like, you don't have to go to bed again. You don't have to wake up again. This is it.
Yeah. There was a whole lot of excitement in our pits. We had a whole lot of people just around, like, my friends that work at Amalie that they had already shut down for the day that don't typically get to watch stock and super stock and all of our classes. They were all hanging out. We had all the pro stock people hanging out watching racing. I can't even tell you how many pro drivers were sitting in the stands on Saturday night watching drag racing. I mean, I had text messages from Shelly Anderson Payne and Jeggy that were sitting up there watching finish line driving because they don't normally get to do that kind of thing. So it did bring in a whole different aspect, but it was exciting for me. I wasn't really nervous by the time we got to the finals. The only thing that makes me nervous is all them people standing behind me on the starting line. I just didn't want to let them down. They were so excited all the rounds before to cheer for me to win. You never want to go up there and have them walk away defeated. So I just went up there thinking I have a job to do. Like, hit the tree, your car's going to be there, no problem. And when I let go, I really thought in my head I was a little bit better than I was. And that might be because I did a monster wheel stand again. And I clipped the 60-foot clocks with my back tires. It was so good.
Yeah,
so
you were doing
I guess
big
that's
wheel
why I thought I was, all weekend. No matter how hard we tried to tame it down a little bit, they just kept coming back.
Yeah, there's some great photos of Randy Lynn's car out there, by the way. So you got to run Ed Longany Jr. in the final round. Tough racer. He had to go through a family member to get there, which is just crazy unto itself. You're 057, he's 087, so you got 3 hun and a 3/10 spot, and now you're racing to the stripe. What did you do?
Yeah. Well, I didn't know until after the fact, but he had been driving incredible. Like, if there was somebody on paper that should have won that event, it probably should have been him. I mean, he definitely round after round was consistently good, unlike me that was hit or miss. But, that's why we don't race on paper and we race on the track. And he's a blinder racer also, kind of like I am, that blocks the tree out. And he went up there and just, missed it. And it's easy to do during the daytime, let alone at night when you have so many other factors and glare coming into play. So it just worked out to my advantage. Like I said, it was just God intervening, I think, in my racing because there's no other explanation for why it was my day.
It was your day. You won the race, I guess, on a double breakout. You're 3,000 under. He's much more under. You had him on the tree. You won the race. And your win light comes on. You've won races in the past. This is your, 6th career win, 10 final rounds. But this is just totally different. This is the biggest race in drag racing history to this point, because we keep getting bigger and better and making such a huge deal of it. You know, legends and Amato and Mullany and Garlitz and everybody's there, and this is just part of history. And the coverage is just over the top, and your win light is on, and you're in the shutdown area. Take me there.
Yeah, at the time, for some reason, it hit me that my dad actually bought my junior dragster there at the Gatornationals 27 years ago. We are from Whiteland, Indiana, so he's friends with Bob Glidden, who died last year, and he wasn't able to be a part of that Legends tour that you talked about. So that, it just hit me like, wow, 27 years ago, it really all started here for me when my dad bought that junior dragster. And my dad came with the Glidden family just as, to hang out and have fun and watch the Gatornationals that were so prestigious in his mind, in all of our minds, really. And so, I don't know, that was very cool for me to think back. And then my dad got to be here. He was on the starting line when I won.
Wow, that is awesome. How did Bob do the weekend that you guys bought the junior dragster?
You know what? I don't even know. I haven't even asked my dad that. It just came to my mind like, hey, I remember that. And when my dad came down after I had won, I was like, how long ago was that? And we had to do the math real quick on our fingers. Wow. I'm like, wow, that's pretty crazy how now I'm fully embedded in the pro stock world and sportsman racing and all aspects of NHRA. But really, when you think about it, it all started right back there at that place. So to win the 50th, that kind of made it extra special when I started thinking about it.
It's super special. It's unbelievable. And then you go to bed, you win the Gatornationals, the pressure's off, you get to walk around as a winner all day Sunday. But then what makes it even more amazing is that, Beau is starting from scratch, round one eliminations, and he goes all the way and wins pro stock in a day that he says flat out is just, like a weird one, right? Best run in the final round, and is able to win the race on an opponent broke, when Alex is an engine problem. Just a bizarre day, but your team, you guys were kind of the focus of the cosmic forces were on your side.
Yeah, that's why I said God's definitely looking out for us because, we should have been beat in pro stock in the semifinals. We had Roger Brogdon. He was running a lot better than us. We had made not very good runs in eliminations that day. Our car kept getting loose. We weren't real happy with it going into that round against Roger Brogdon. And they tightened up his air gap, I guess. That's what he had told us later on. And, when he went to deck it threw his foot off the clutch pedal and he was gone. So we had a lucky round there. And, for years we've always talked about like doubling up, like both of us winning at the same race. Even prior to Pro Stock, we talked about how cool that would be. And, you don't really think of it actually happening, and you definitely don't think about it happening at like the biggest race we're going to have all year. So, going up there against Alex, in my head, I'm thinking, come on, Beau, don't screw this up. But I don't say that to him, of course. That would just totally throw you off as a racer.
Sure.
So I just kind of let him do his thing. He knows what's on my mind and all of our minds anyways. And we go up there, and when Alex broke, we were just like, holy crap, like there is something going on here. Like we're living right or something. I don't know if that's it, but it was just meant to be. Some things are meant to be.
Some things are meant to be. And you just, when, you're walking around lucky and you don't know it, there's just a million different sayings and cliches and things that have happened over the years that you just look at it and you don't know why, except it happened and it's real. And you and Beau both winning the 50th Amalie Motor Oil NHRA Gatornationals on the same weekend together. I don't know, Randy Lynn, that's about as good as it gets. I mean, you guys could both win. Like, I don't know what, it could be as good as this, but I don't think it could be much better than this.
Well, Indy could be as good as this, and mainly because it's Indy for one, and my whole family lives there, and they would all be there for it, and I'd love to win in front of all of them and let them all be in a picture with me because they cheer me on every weekend, no matter where we're at. They're always watching All Access and trying to, support me. So Indy would be a little bit bigger, but
But it wouldn't be the
you can't
50th.
really ask for that.
But it wouldn't be the 50th.
Yeah.
You'd have to wait till the 70th Indy if you want to do it and for it to be bigger, because it's, the big round number changes everything. I think it is great to see it all go down. You wearing that hat the next day, like just beaming like victory, and then it translated to Beau as well. Just amazing stuff. Thank you so much for giving us the debrief session on your stock eliminator win. That's exactly what I love. We obviously have bracket racers out there who listen to the podcast. We've got just racing fans who they maybe see the stock eliminator cars but don't spend a lot of time. Hopefully they will in the future. This was just a huge victory, and I'm so happy for you guys.
Thank you very much. We're very, very excited still to this day.
Well, and forever and always on for the remainder of the season, certainly. Randy Layne, thank you very much for coming on WFO Radio. Congratulations on your giant win.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Randy Layne. Randy Layne Shipp with us here on WFO Radio. And since it is ladies first, right? Ladies first. Now we'll hear from the Pro Stock winner of the 50th Amalie Motor Oil NHRA Gatornationals. We heard Randy Layne's side of the story. Let's hear Beau. Beau, you don't mind following up Randy Layne, right?
No, Joe. Like I've spoke before, I've spent a long time chasing her, so I'll still stay behind her.
There you go. That is a great attitude, and that will get you far, I would imagine. All right, but all joking aside, Beau, what happened? Gatornationals, like a lightning bolt, struck both of you guys, and you both come out on top. Randy Layne told us her, she'd driven better, but it was her weekend, and it seemed the same for you.
Absolutely. I mean, Joe. Our life is just blessed, buddy. We're doing what we love. We've been successful. Just life's clicking, but. Yeah, just her winning Saturday evening. Whatever I did I felt was a bonus because, I don't know, it's great to see her win, and I don't care what her lights were or what happened in the race. David Rampy told me a long, long time ago, you pick up one of those Wallies, it says nothing about how the race went. So it was great. I'm the same way as her. There's probably some rounds. I know there's some rounds I shouldn't have won, but pulling up in the final round, Greg Anderson even looked at me and said, the motor can follow your car. You're still going to win this race. So it was just one of them days. It was our day.
Wow. For you, as a Lucas Oil Series racer for so long and probably a bracket racer before that, try to explain that to people, that when it's your day thing. It happens a lot. And, you've got skill, talent, and ability to do this period, to be at this level, but just some days, who knows what it is. Like coming up against Fernando, a couple of thou to the good. Like that's a couple of thou. It could have gone the other way.
Yeah, that was actually probably a good round for us. Our car was just a little better than Fernando's. But, it's just the way it goes. In Pro Stock, you can be the baddest dude out there. Then next race, you fall short. And it's like that with any racing. There's just certain times when it's your day, And, there's times you can be 005 and make the run of your life, and that person next to you is trip zip and 1 thou better. So it makes no sense or why, but wow. Imagine it happening at the Gators and then happening at the 50th of the Gators. It doesn't get any bigger than that. It's amazing.
It doesn't. So second round, you get through Fernando, and that's a great race, period. But second round, Derek Kramer's 006, you're 023, but he's got a problem, and you run a 55, and so you could have been vulnerable right there. Derek was 50, runs a 50 with a 5 first round. He puts up a 006, but the car doesn't go down the track, and so now you're on to the semis.
Yes, Derek has the same power as us. I run his clutch and his rear shocks on my car, so they're very similar. So I know knowing he's fast and he's a very good driver. Just unfortunately, he had some issues on the starting line, and I literally from second gear to high gear was like swerving all over the track, blowing the tires off, and I'm just waiting for him to come around me. And then luckily my wind light come on, so I was like, wow. And then when I found out it went a 55, I'm like, we have a really fast car if it stays hooked.
And you got the job done going to the semis. Now Roger Brogdon had the fastest car on the weekend for the most part. Like, he's been so great and just jumps through the beams, had a clutch problem, and just like that, you didn't even really have to run it out. You kind of just drove it down once you saw what happened with him. You had to be thinking, like, this is just crazy at that point.
Well, yeah, and Roger stuff's fast, and but we've all done it. We call it cheating the clutch pedal. that's where you're kind of real light on the clutch. And we run like, I don't know what the air gap is, but he told me it was pretty tight. So if you do that at all, it just takes off, and it kind of frustrates you because you don't know what's happening. But, yeah, we're fortunate for that. And, Joe, when I hit second gear that time, I couldn't take it any further. I didn't purposely shut off. That was an abort run that we don't do very often. So we figured we had an issue somehow with the car at that time, and we came back and had every KB crew guy, crew chief, everybody there on the car. Then they got it to come around there in the final.
Yes, and it does come around in the final, but it was unnecessary in that Alex had his own problems. And Alex was looking super strong all weekend long. At this point, let's take a second to just kind of like back up in terms of like, you want to win every race, Beau, but this one was different. We built it up for a year. This race was hyped for a whole year, the 50th Gatornationals, and Randy Layne had already won it. You got a shot to win it. Did that enter your mind? Like, man, this is one of the biggest races you've ever competed in.
I was so happy just to go the distance we went and get into the final. Again, I had all the faith in the crew. They're going to make the car get down. That's not in my head at all. But my deal was just to do our job and make a good, solid run. Alex is fast. And then I'm sitting there literally laughing in my helmet when Darrell looks at me and tells me he's broke. I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. There's no possible way. So at that moment, you kind of throw everything out. Luckily, like Randy Layne shuts my door, so I see her and Darrell fist pump, and I'm like, holy cow, we just won not only the Gatornationals, but the 50th. So, of course, Alan Reinhardt put a lot of pressure on me the night before by, hey, all the pressure's on you now, Beau. She wins. So it was just a great weekend, and I don't know how to top it off other than I just had my grandson Wednesday.
What?
So that was amazing.
Wow.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
Congratulations. That is a big, big deal.
Yes, they just actually got back to their house today, getting pictures, and I'm a proud grandpa. It's amazing, and he's actually the fifth. I'm actually the third, and my son's the fourth. So I'm calling him J5. His name's James Butner the fifth. So it's pretty neat.
J5. I love
Yes,
that.
sir.
So you take the win. You won the 50th. You got to do all the Associated Media Center. You and Randy Layne both wearing the special Gatornationals hats, special Gatornationals Wallies. Just a tremendous race weekend. Did you guys get together and, how do you, when you look at each other, you both won the race. This is something you've been planning for a long time. Like, what is that moment like?
Just proud, and not only of her, but the whole team, and just kind of where we come from, Joe. I'm a stock eliminator racer. I'm a bracket racer. You mentioned that earlier. We kind of worked our way up the ladder, and it's pretty good to have any success at all. But when it comes to a race that big, there's only one I'm lacking, and that's the one in my home state at the U.S. Nationals. Been very close in a few classes. I ran really good there, but that's the one that will top it off. It's going to be hard to beat this 50th.
Yeah, it is, because it's a big round number, and it's you got to wait every couple of years. We get a big one, the 70th U.S. Nationals coming, but it's going to be very challenging. So you lead the points over Alex, which is interesting because I can't help but think you were going to retire, and now you're leading the points once again, but more importantly, competing very well. And it's just very exciting to watch you do that, but I want to segue now to the Samtech Factory Stock Showdown, where, as amazing as you're doing in Pro Stock, I don't know, you tell me, was that a humbling experience to run in the sevens and not qualify?
Probably me being not patient enough. I probably wasn't 100% ready because I haven't got to go test like I want in that class, but we've completely, they've made some real changes. I have jumped in with 2 feet, ordering engines, blowers, converters, trannies, and then I'm going to go, what Darrell and I like to say is we're going to go throw the trailer at it. I'm going to take everything I have and go spend a couple of days and test it. So I need to be successful with it, not only for myself and our crew, but, Summit's put their name on it. So Summit's no joke. They want to win rounds. They want to win races. And that's what our goal is to do with that car.
What do you think about the way the first race went, not necessarily from your team's perspective, but as a class of drag racing, in that everybody in the sevens for the most part, unbelievable runs, the attention it got, like the hype factor. What do you think about race one?
well, I don't know if people's talked to you much about it, but these cars aren't the easiest to go from A to B. For one, you have to leave the starting line, and I actually made a run testing and did not pull a parachute because I was kind of laughing at the guys. And you literally cannot stop these cars without a parachute, and that blows my mind with a stock eliminator style car. But they have a lot of power. They really pull on the top end. I'm very happy. I mean, I think the Fords maybe had a slight advantage, but the Chevys run out of it, and then Leah goes out there and runs an 85. So NHRA did a pretty good job. I think they might want to slow them all down. Maybe I think their goal is maybe to be an 8-second field or whatever. But whatever it's going to be, I mean, dude, you got 32, 31 cars showing up for 16 spots. That's the way it needs to be, and that's the way Pro Stock used to be.
Yeah, and they're real cars that people can relate to. And I felt an energy out there. The fans were loving it. And that final round was just spectacular. But a reduction of approximately 17% supercharger overdrive for the Mustangs. The Camaro's losing 10% from what I understand, and the Challengers remain the same. So my guess is that's going to tighten some things up a little bit. What do you think? Good move, right
I
move,
agree.
exactly right? What do you think?
Well, no, they'll never make the right move. It's just like Pro Mile. When you have so many different combinations, you can never get it perfect. But they're going in the right direction, and the problem I see is we're not going to be in these a track like that of this atmosphere again this year. I mean, unless something crazy would happen in Charlotte and it'd be 70 degrees. But I think the cars will slow up on their own, but they do need to try. I mean, that means they're trying. That means they care. So I'm very happy with that. It's going to be a good, tight race. I think Leah had to pretty much make a perfect hit, as Kevin Helms told me, to even get close to that, what she ran. So they've got their hands full to keep it, but we're going to keep working. And the team I'm with, that there's not too much. They can't put too much on us. So we're going to be successful, or you won't see me in it.
Right. And Leah had a 1:15 60-foot. Off the top of my head, that was like one of the quickest 60-foots of the weekend, and was able to run that 85. So they're in the neighborhood, but everybody coming back. The 71 by Drew Skillman was just outrageous. And you're saying the cars are hard to drive. You're not the first person to say that.
Yeah, you have to. I'm not saying it's anything like a Pro Stock car to drive, but I mean you have to do your job, and then you have to keep it in the groove. I mean, you saw a lot of close calls, and you'll see more of that.
Very exciting. I love the category. I love the class. I love the hype and the fact that everybody is interested and into it. Some people want to know, though, Beau, you're a Camaro guy in Pro Stock, and you're a Mustang guy in factory stock.
Yes, I'm very happy with both companies. Just as my dealerships, I saw absolutely everything made to man, and I'm not specific to anything. Chevrolet has been great to me. I mean, above and beyond. Same way with Ford. A lot of people don't know I've been with Ford since '08, since these Mustangs kind of came out, and we raced a lot of stuff with them. But they've been great to us, and I want to win with both of them. But at the end of the day, Joe, what we sit in is just a tool. So we have to do the best with what we got, and everybody wants to win.
That is so true. That is so true. Maybe we could get you like a Challenger super stocker so you can run them all and like rotate.
Yeah. Now you're getting out of hand.
All right. Listen, it was a crazy idea.
I'll stick with the Pontiacs.
Oh, there you go. I love it. And, Randy Lynn told us about the door incident over there in Bradenton, and that that there was a rumor that she was she handled it poorly, but she said she actually handled it surprisingly well. What was your recollection of that moment when someone drove a scooter into the side of her perfect car?
I was actually at a friend's trailer, and she comes running to me, and I actually took it way worse than her. I mean, people make mistakes, things happen, but she kind of felt sorry for the guy, and it's actually sitting at the body shop right now being fixed, and we pick it up Monday. So she likes her stuff nice.
Yes. No, it's obvious. It's obvious and evident with that car. Well, Beau, congratulations. Huge victory. Our next race, 4-wide Vegas. We're going 4-wide, so we've had 3 down in the books. We're now going to do something a little out of the ordinary for a couple of races, or 2 out of the next 3. But going to be a lot of fun. The season feels like it's moving now.
Yeah, it's good. I can't complain. Had a great start. I've had a great car at every race. So looking forward to the 4-wide. A lot of the drivers hate it. I love it because it's just different, and it's not if, it's when somebody screws up, to if you can hold your composure and not do the same. So it's going to be a fun race, and appreciate all the support out there.
Beau, thank you for coming on WFO Radio Podcast. Appreciate it. Congratulations on being a grandfather once again. And just so cool to see you and Randy Layne both win the Gatornationals same weekend. Such a big race. And that's part of the hype machine that we created. And I think the race really lived up to the hype, top to bottom.
It was awesome, and life is great, Joe.
Beau, thanks for coming on the show. Appreciate it.
Thanks, guys. See ya.
Thanks, Beau. Beau Butner with us here on WFO Radio. Wow. Beau and Randy Layne both winning the 50th Gatornationals. Like, what's up with that? That is cosmic. Definitely. The racing gods, or however you want to put it. Bottom line is they both got the job done. All right, we're going to keep on rolling. We got Andrew Hines, Mike Mullany coming on. We've got Megan Meyer, Sean Bellemeur, Beau Layne. If you like the show, share the show. Simple as that. But right now, I want to tell you about CatSpotLitter.com. CatSpot, Scop, and Magic Dry. That's the whole thing. It's magicdry.us or magicdryus.com and catspotlitter.com. And if you've got a cat, then get CatSpot. And if you've got a shop or a factory or dealership and you're cleaning up larger spills, well, then you want to get Magic Dry. And just like Scott Palmer says, get some Magic Dry. Simple as that. And they had it at the track this past weekend. But I think a lot of our listeners have cats. I really do. And you get it in the mail and it shows up at the house and you don't have to lug the big bag around. Go to catspotlitter.com or magicdryus.com. Support the sport, support Scott Palmer, and, of course, support WFO Radio by doing it. And it's biodegradable and better. Win, win, win. Just like that. We'll be back with more WFO Radio NHRA Nitro after this.
Everybody, listen carefully.
Now you listen to me. Why do you listen? WFO, you guys are number one.
Honest. Listen.
Your education. What are you doing? Look, I know you want to become an engine builder. I know you want to work in a machine shop. I know you know that is a very in-demand position, but you think you could probably learn it by hanging around the shop. The way to do it is to go the School of Automotive Machinist and Technology route, samtech.edu, where you can do all of those things except get an accredited education by real racers, where they don't sponsor race cars. Their cars are the curriculum. samtech.edu. Motorsports is exploding around the world. It is a job that cannot be outsourced. In fact, they might ship you in to work on their stuff. That's how in demand the job is. Engine builder, machinist, motorsport EFI, they do it all. Check them out, samtech.edu.
Hey, WFO Universe. Want something for free? Send a self-addressed stamped envelope with plenty of postage, and we'll load it up with free WFO stickers. That's right, I said free. Send your envelope, care of Castello Media /WFO stickers to P.O. Box 848353, Pembroke Pines, Florida 33084. Do it now.
Hey, racers and race fans, I want to tell you about the motorsports guys. Terry McMillan from Elkhart, Indiana, has got a new venture, and we want you to hit the website. They've got all kinds of great new parts, pieces, filters, oils on there, including Amalie's new Pro Racing 70 oil with Molly. It's used by many professional drag racers, including Terry McMillan, for larger turning curves and avoiding those drop cylinder moments. It saves bearings and crankshafts and provides more compression with better ring seal and less fuel in your oil. You can get it at motorsportsguys.com. We'll carry Amalie, they carry Wolf's Head Oil and Lubricants, Molly Filters, K&N Filters, All-Star Performance Racing, and high-performance parts from Motor State Distributing and Layne Automotive. It's going to be a one-stop shop. They're going to have it all. But most importantly, oil, Amalie, better than it has to be since 1903, available at motorsportsguys.com. Check it out. Bookmark it, motorsportsguys.com. Terry McMillan stepping up as a supporter of WFO Radio. Check him out, motorsportsguys.com.
Now, back to WFO Radio, NHRA Nitro.
NHRA Nitro podcast, the Gatornationals pre-edition was very long. The post and winners edition, we're getting everybody all together in the same podcast, so you guys don't have to jump around. Hangstafers, metalworking lubricants, over 100 affiliates worldwide. They are looking to improve your metalworking processes by making them quicker, faster, and more efficient. Plus, improve the surface quality and extend tool life, lower production costs, reduce waste. They help out with all of these different elements of the metalworking process. JFR, DSR, both use Hangstafers. Hangstafers on the side of many race cars out there, including the Sackman brothers. They've got 100 affiliates worldwide and can help you wherever you are in the world. Check them out. Go to Hangstafers.com. Hangstafers Metalworking Lubricants since 1937. All right, let's keep on going. Joining us now, he was the Pro Stock Motorcycle winner at the 50th Amalie Motor Oil NHRA Gatornationals, and getting start in 2019 with a win. Andrew Hines joins us now. Andrew, welcome back to WFO. It's been a while.
Thank you, Joe. It's been too long, for sure.
Yeah. Well, so since the Auto Club Finals of 2017, you went a whole calendar year, a whole season without a win. That had to be annoying, but obviously you have remedied that problem right away in 2019.
Yeah, it was probably more painful for my 8-year-old son Declan, because he really enjoys seeing Dad in the winner's circle, and it's been a struggle when I go home. He beats on me now that he's a drag racer too, and his little junior dragster. He's sending it home when I get home. He just like really lays it into me and says, "Hey, Dad, you need to win again." So. It was nice to get that one in there, and first one of the year. Heck, I haven't won Gainesville since my very first national event win in 2004. So
that's shocking.
Kind of anemic to start the season, I guess, but been a good career all throughout.
That was a shocking stat. There's a bunch of shocking stats in that. You've got the best record in pro stock motorcycle that we've seen, and Eddie is coming up. Like sneaking up on you, and it's just. But to think that you hadn't won the Gatornationals. You've now bookended the Gatornationals. That's many years ago. You say anemic, but what do you think it is? Like I got a theory. You want to hear my theory?
Oh, absolutely.
Well, you're already a little, like, I don't want to say you're oversized for the bikes, but you're a big guy compared to like a lot of people coming in off the off season, man. Like right after the holidays. Maybe you have
weight tacked on.
Right. You've been carrying around a couple extra LBs. And this year you had said you've been hitting the gym and you're like refocused. You're like Rocky. And look, the proof is in the pudding.
Yeah, definitely. That was part of it. And then the other big part of it was doing a new chassis for me throughout the off season.
Yeah. Focus on that.
We built that. Yeah. So we built the chassis last year that we brought out for Shipp, and he rode that bike starting in Charlotte last year. And, he's like, "Man, you need to ride this thing." He's like, it's a good bike. So we decided to keep him on and then put him on my bike for Vegas and Pomona. And then I rode what we called it the blue bike back then, because it had the blue bodywork that was the 115th anniversary for Harley Davidson. So we always referred to it as the blue bike. So I rode the blue bike in Vegas and Pomona. He hopped on my old jalopy, and apparently it was really bad because he rode the bike. He's like, "This thing's horrible." And I was riding the blue bike and going significantly quicker. So we made the decision to build a new chassis for me for this year, and kind of took some of the chassis ideas from the bike we built for Shipp in 17 and the bike we built for Shipp in 18, combined them both together because it went nice and straight down the racetrack. It didn't do any weird front-end sliding like our old chassis like to do in third and fourth gear, where the chassis would twist up and then unload. And it worked out really well. I mean, came off the truck and testing, and the thing was a rocket ship from the start. So I think all in all, between testing and Gatornationals, I made 10 runs in the 670 zone. So there's not much to bat an eye at there. The thing was absolutely phenomenal. I haven't had a motorcycle that good in a long time.
Wow. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about, you use the word jalopy out there, which but you get used to something, and you maybe whatever the case is, like assume that it, how bad could it be? How bad could it be? And it turns out it was pretty bad. For those of us who don't really understand pro stock motorcycle chassis dynamics, like what was it? Just so many runs on it, or the way it was put together, or getting worn out? Like what causes something to go from being okay to just not working anymore, as opposed to the new one that you're riding, which was perfect and you love it?
And I guess we really can't pinpoint it. Otherwise, I'd tell you straight up. But it's definitely not an age thing, because Eddie's chassis, our chassis are in two separate halves. So we have a front half because we get the engine out by splitting the chassis completely in half, right at the center cradle, which is right behind the engine. Mm-hmm. And Eddie's old rear half, we call it, is a 2009. That's when his was built. So he's got a ton of runs on that thing. His front half's from 2013 when we had to do our engine change. Just had to move some of the frame rails. But there's something with the chassis that I had that when it would set the front wheel down, now our Harleys, they carry the front wheel till most of the time fourth gear. Sometimes they'll set it down in third gear, and that's kind of when you get the sliding effect. When the front wheel is going from 0 to 140, say, it has to spin up the speed. And when my bike would spin up the speed, it would just fold the front end, fold the handlebars all the way to the lock, and I just have to ride through it. And when you're doing that, the front wheel's turned. It's, you can't really fight it back straight. It just has to come back up and snatch back straight once the wheel comes up to speed. So if you're trying to fight it, you've got a friction brake going on. You're sliding the front end going down the track, and then you're putting input in the handlebars, which you don't want to do. And that's where Eddie would really score it away from me, was pretty much from 330 to 8th mile. I would always be down. I would have to fight to get within like 1 mile an hour of him at half track. And once we figured out that, it was pretty much tuning to get it back. Then we would make Eddie's bike quicker. So it was just a catch-22 deal where, we were learning on my bike how to make it faster. Then ultimately we'd make his even better. And then he'd rack up race wins. So it was good for us, but bad for us, I guess. We were having to fight to make mine so fast, and it would be easy to make his faster.
Well, no, that makes sense. But what you just described there sounds very frightening. The idea of the tire accelerating to 140 miles per hour from 0 and spooling up. It's something that, of course, we see, and, on the top fuel bikes, we even maybe get a puff of smoke every now and again. But I wouldn't want to be on.
We get that on the pro stock every now and then, too. I mean, I think Eddie, we looked at the final round when Eddie and I raced this past weekend, and we both went 670s. His front tire didn't go what we call it going 1-to-1. It didn't go vehicle speed until 700 feet down the racetrack.
Wow.
So, yeah. His always tends to hang the front end a little longer, and we've noticed that years past in the wind tunnel. For some reason, the way he rides, his body creates more lift than mine does. I don't know if it's because he's a little shorter, he's a little farther back on the motorcycle. I'm a little longer in the torso, so I'm like 4 or 5 inches farther forward, but he always hangs the front wheel about 100 feet further than I do.
Huh. Interesting. So let's go round by round. As number one qualifier, you had to go up against Corey Reed. Corey had problems first round, kind of pulled the trigger early, but you uncorked the 78 with a 1. Go to the second round where Jerry Savoy took a shot at you. And this is the kind of thing, like, in fact, looking at the first 3 competitors, they all, leaned on the tree because they had to. They weren't in the neighborhood. And so what do you call those? Those are intimidation victories or forced errors. They had to go 00 if they were going to have a chance to get to the stripe, and they all pushed it over the line.
Yeah, and Gainesville was tough, too. So people were probably taking shots at the tree more than they would at a normal race because nobody throughout qualifying could cut a light. It was pretty much, the best lights were maybe in the mid-20s and low 30s. Just Gainesville wasn't giving it up on reaction time, so that gave people a little extra cushion to kind of take a stab at it. And, you didn't see many 00 lights, and the ones that were 00, they move on to Vegas here in a couple weeks. They're going to be red all the time. So just depends on how the track's laid out with the beams and all that. But when you have a fast motorcycle, and I've had this in the past where it's like a scare tactic deal. The motorcycle's so fast, and I've been on the other side of it too, where you got to take a shot at it. That's the only way you're going to have a chance to get to the finish line first. And, there's a point of no return, though. You still have to see yellow to be able to go on time. And these guys, I guess they realized how fast my Harley was, and it was kind of back to our standards that we like to see. And, it forced them into popping up a red light. So I got a kind of a free pass, even though I had a quick motorcycle, had a free pass all the way to the final.
Well, judging by the ETs you were running, you were going to be very, very tough to beat. The 199 number, though, man, the 200 mile per hour world is trying to keep you out. What's up with that?
It is. Yeah, there's something against me there. I'm not sure what. I must not be doing something right, but it's right there. I thought that qualifying session 3 the first time out on Saturday, I thought that was going to be the run. So I took a chance on Friday night, and I took a gamble. I knew other people had the chance of going 200. There's only that 4th spot left in the Denso 200 mile per hour club, and I wanted to get my Denso spark plugs down the track in front of everybody for that qualifying session. So on Friday night, I said, hey, I'm changing a tooth, getting prepped for tomorrow. I was already qualified solid in the field after Q1. Said, let's take a tooth off, which that's how Eddie's bike was set up already anyway. I was trying to rev mine a little harder previously. So I took a tooth off and got a good clutch setup for qualifying 3. And I said, hey, I got the half track, chopped the throttle early, grabbed the brakes before I got to the finish line. Said I want to be first out on Saturday Q3, just in case anybody else does it in front of me. I don't want to have that linger in the back of my mind that, oh man, Ryan Ayler now, who is going fast, he had a chance to pop it up there also.
Yep.
I said, hey, let's try and get out first and get it done. And, man, the stars still didn't align. It went 199.94. And I told Eddie before that run, I said, if it goes 199.99, you're not going to see me the rest of the weekend. Right.
You'll just go drive off the top end. And
I'll go hide somewhere. But just could not get it done. I think I made, 199 runs this weekend and just couldn't find that last, tenth of a mile an hour or half a mile an hour to get it done.
Well, that's good. Something else to shoot for. So final round, you and Eddie, let's talk a little bit about that. Both of you killed a tree. He's 020, you're 019. He runs a 76.2, you run a 75.2. But setting the records and all of these amazing runs, what a great weekend for you guys together, especially that final round.
Yeah, it was a great weekend, and the guys had a lot of fun all week. We kind of kept a mellow atmosphere at the pit area and kind of let Angel kind of take the reins on signing autographs and handling the fan support. Eddie and I are tuning these motorcycles completely 100% now, and we're just trying to get them to the point that we can be competitive every single run, not try to leave any percentages of ET on the table. So it's been a struggle in 60-foot a little bit, trying to get Angel's bike dialed in, but we got Eddie's bike and my bike working pretty good right now. I guess the biggest change we probably made was getting the newest Motec that a lot of people have been running for years now, but we finally just made the switch to the M130. So it opened up a lot more tuning aspects that we can change, and it showed. I mean, we've got engines back here, and the engines look way happier internally, and we're able to get, extract more performance out of them. So it's exciting. I'm excited about what's going to happen here in the next few races.
Yeah, absolutely. 49th career win, which means 50th is next. And just unbelievable performances. And there was a little back and forth in Pro Stock Motorcycle with just Matt Smith has got an unbelievable bike. There's a couple of bikes that are really quick and fast. You mentioned Flying Ryan, all of these things. But then after the race, a rules change comes out. How is that going to affect you guys?
Well, obviously it's going to impact us not significantly, because in 15 pounds, it's weight, it's heavy. We'll still be able to 60-foot pretty good. It might actually, since Eddie and I are bigger guys, we don't have any ballast on the front end of the motorcycle, so it may potentially, it's not going to make us go any quicker in 60-foot, but it might open the window where we're more consistent in 60-foot, which would be nice. May not have to hit the barn door with a BB per se. Hopefully we can go out there and lay down more consistent runs. But obviously it's going to slow down the speeds. We're probably going to lose a mile an hour, so it's going to be harder for people to see those 200-mile-per-hour runs. We're still pushing a lot of wind up there, and you're pushing wind and dragging weight with you. It's going to get tougher. So Matt Smith will probably still have a good chance at it. That EBR body's pretty aerodynamic. Obviously Hector Jr. and Senior, when they get their performance figured out again, because they were definitely off in Gainesville. But we're going to have to just deal with it. I mean, we had V-Twins as a group had a pretty significant advantage over how the Suzuki's ran. Now, did the Suzuki's run to their full potential? I would say no. Jimmy Underdahl was the quickest Suzuki out there, and I feel the War team, Jerry and Karen, they should have been running quicker. There's always been a notable history of some Suzukis don't run good in colder weather, and it just comes down to tuning. You got to know how to burn the Sunoco fuel, and we've done a pretty good job here at Vance and Hines on figuring out how to lay out the fuel injection mechanically in a different way. It's not all just keyboard strokes. You got to do stuff in a different manner for different conditions. So we've come a long way in that aspect, and it's just trial and error, I guess.
Wow. No, I you guys have had great success, you and Eddie, over the past few years. But last year you were out of the mix. This year you're in it right away. What about the record, though, in the media center afterwards? You mentioned how important this national record was, the 72-0. And it just occurs to me that this is an example of how, timing and engineering can overcome years, in that you guys had the 4-valve setup however many years ago and set that record. And now it has taken this many years to catch and surpass that record with this combination. And it's a nice illustration to think about where you were and where you backed up to, and now you are caught up to where you were in a different combination.
Yeah, that was that was another situation where the weather was phenomenal. I'm sure it was better than what we had here in Gainesville. I'd have to go back and look at notes, but I think we were 40.
Whoa, wait a second.
Air temp or something.
Andrew Hines doesn't just remember off the top of his head. Come on now.
Nah.
You slipping up? Come on.
That was back when I had a different weather station, so I'm not even sure what that thing was reading back then. But
all right.
Physically feeling the air, I'm sure it was better back then. And it was Reading in October or whatever it was. How can you not go fast back then? So, but yeah, like you said, we had the 4-valve back then, and I'm really, really happy to scratch that record off that book with our Vance and Hines 2-valve. It's been a long road to hoe to get back there, but I didn't want really, Matt Smith kind of laid into me after Q1. He's like, your record's in jeopardy after he made the very first run, and he went almost 201 on Q1. And I said, okay, yeah, it is. Obviously, you're fast. So I was amazed that we were able to get there. I mean, that's just one of those runs that, if you snap the chalk line from starting line to finish line, my bike followed it and didn't shake the tire. It just accelerated as hard as it possibly could, and I didn't have to make any corrections. So that's when they go fast. They feel slow. It didn't feel like a 72, but
I think
exciting.
It's great.
And I'm happy that we broke our 6.5-year-old record, because now anybody can go break my record, and it's the record that we hold with our current engine. They can go break it all day long. We broke our old record first.
That's right. Well, exactly. And I love the fact that, for fans out there, like, that's something that everyone is thinking about. Like Matt Smith during the offseason, he's thinking, I want your record. Your record is in jeopardy, Andrew. And you ended up holding on to it or resetting it. But I think that's the fun of the category. All right, couple of things I want to rapid fire past you. This one maybe isn't a rapid fire thing, but you guys did such a great job with Angèle, and now she is on for the full season from what I understand. And Vance and Hines released a video, which was great. One of the best things I think I've ever seen for drag racing. Illustrating Angèle, media-wise, like a created piece that explains what's going on, who this person is, why should I care about them, what are they doing, what do they want to do, if I put that in front of a bunch of people that had never seen drag racing, period, I bet you they would come out of it very interested to follow Angèle through her season with Vance and Hines. Like, it was very well done. We shared it on our Facebook page all over the place. But you guys obviously put it together. I don't know, how involved you were, but the Angèle story, it continues for the full season. I know a lot of people are very happy, and I know why you made the decision. But tell us about that, like what this year and Angèle and on Harley, and what was the feedback you got and all of that.
Well, for years we've been pushing on trying to get more than just our 2 bikes out here. That's why we've dabbled with doing having Shipp ride the last couple of years, just to to do some learning, but also just to get more of us out there. And Harley's been big on the push for female riders here for the last decade. So it just was a no-brainer once she became available and left Team Liberty. It was kind of a sign that hey, here's a chance for us to get a proven 3-time champ female rider. And there were still issues up in the air. We didn't know how well she would ride our motorcycle. It's completely different than the other bikes that are out there. And, it was kind of a gamble at that point. So when Harley said, yeah, go ahead, you got approval to go ahead and do this, we said, okay, here's our plan. Let's go testing in Phoenix. It's our chance to try her out and prove out some things, see how good she really is, and see if she is that 3-time champ that she's been known for. So, and by all means, man, she can get a motorcycle down the racetrack. In Phoenix, it was a little rocky because we didn't have it completely set up for her great. The track prep was a little bit off from how NHRA was prepping last year, so we had to get adapted to that. But we kind of threw the whole gauntlet at her. We bogged the bike for her. We blew the tire off for her. We did this, we did that. And the biggest thing that I was proud of her for was, keeping it as straight as she could down the racetrack and still hitting her shift points. So it was a phenomenal deal. She's had a lot of talk about her shift points in the past, and she's not perfect by any means, but she can shift that motorcycle really, really good. So the next few races, you're going to see great things from her. We stepped her up to the full horsepower engines once we got to Gainesville for Q2. We were just letting her kind of beat on one of our last year's race motors, and Eddie and I were running the good stuff, getting it lined out and testing. But she made a good stride, good moves when we put the better motor in there. Now the last holdback is we got to get the newer ECU on her bike, so that'll be the last couple hundreds. So, but hey, we had quite the following in Gainesville. I mean, we were the end cap of the Pro Stock motorcycle pits in the front section, right at the end of Pro Stock, and we don't like to be the end cap because then people can kind of look in and see different things that we don't want them to see. But we figured, hey, with having her there, let's get as much exposure as we could, and we had, I don't know, 1,000 people at the trailer at one point over the weekend. It seemed like they were just lined up all the way around. She was out there signing for hours and hours and hours, and her presence there is definitely well felt with all the NHRA drag racing fans. Got a lot of new Harley bandwagon fans, and hopefully we can keep them around for a while. And that was the tipping point. We saw how good she was of getting our motorcycle down the track. We know if we give her a better one, she's going to go out there and get race wins, no problem. And then the social media following and the fan following at the races is just gonna pay dividends for us to keep the relevance happening for Harley Davidson and Pro Stock motorcycle in NHRA.
Well, watching the video, I got that. I felt like, I occasionally will overstate things because I love the sport, and I feel it. That video felt like something I would see coming out of a Formula One team, like a big thing happening, like these two big names coming together for some sort of bigger deal. Angel, which of course the ladies love to root for her and the guys love to root for her, and they come over from Bike Week and now on a Harley Davidson. Like that, it just brings everything together. It felt like a really big moment for the class, and I'm glad it worked out. So real quick, take me into the war room. Like, who is who is the first, like, imagine it's a movie after the fact. Who's the first that said, let's get Angel, or someone call Angel, or are we ready to do this? Are we really doing this, guys? Are we going to do it? Like, who was the person, if there is even a person, or was it a collective decision to say, all right, let's do it?
Terry Vance, obviously, he's been eyeing her for years, and she was always with Star Racing or with Liberty after she left there. So Terry called and said, "Hey, I see she's available. We should get her." So that's pretty much how it went.
Wow.
He called me, and then I walked in Eddie's office, and we had it all on speakerphone. I was like, "Okay, here's the deal. Let's see if we can make a swing for it." And that was history in the making. Hopefully, we had to get Harley's blessing, and they were all for it.
Great stuff. Okay, now it's good that Terry was the guy who enabled this to happen, because at the same time he got beat by the professor first round in unfinished business. And I really felt like, first of all, this guy can do no wrong. He just made $1 million donation to Doug Herbert's Brakes and has been so cool out there at the track for many years, always coming upstairs to hang out in the announce booth and offering up insights and whatnot. But I really felt like, he was, carrying the hopes and dreams of every Pro Stock motorcycle or motorcycle racer against the car guys into this unfinished business. But the car let him down, I would imagine.
Yeah, it seemed like, unfortunately, they didn't have cars kind of evenly matched up, or something was off with calibrations on something for like eco modes or fail safes or, safety modes, something like that. I mean, they should have been running 3 seconds apart from each other. That just, that was
right.
Unfortunately, too obvious that it's a Camry. Come on, how easy is it to hit the gas and go? They should run within the same every time. But yeah, it didn't quite work out. Maybe we'll have a rematch next year.
Well, people are talking about that, like that. It was so well received. Joe Amato said it to me. Bernstein said it to me. Like, why don't we do this more? Like, get some cars with a little more horsepower. Like, we're down to do this. Amato wanted to do a race to final round every day. He goes, why can't we do this each day? Like, this is great.
Yeah.
So maybe it's the start of something big. All right, real final question. Mike Mullany. I'm going to try to contact Mike after I hang up with you. But great story. Give me, now that, he's built a chassis, welded a chassis that went on to win the biggest race in the history of the sport to this moment. Tell me about this guy.
Mike's a great guy. He's come a long, long way since he started here at Vance and Hines in 2014. When he came here, he was a friend of Eddie's brother and a street bike racer at Englishtown Raceway Park, or Old Bridge Township Raceway Park, which unfortunately we saw got some walls clobbered the other day. So,
terrible, huh? Terrible photographs.
Yeah, it's horrible. I mean, they're just tearing down memories right and left over there, unfortunately. But I guess it's unfortunately it's kind of the times. But yeah, he's fairly emotional about that one. But he's a great kid. He's come a long way. He had minimal racing bike experience before he came here. He went through the Motorcycle Mechanics Institute down in Florida and got a certificate for that, for working on production street bikes and things, and worked at a few dealers over in New Jersey. And he just got the itch and the bug to go race motorcycles. And when we were looking to add on to our team for another crew guy, because my crew guy, Scott, decided that he was going to cut back on how many races he went to, and we really just needed the extra guy. Scott was going to stay and work on engines primarily more, and we just needed a guy to take the two motorcycles and make them his babies. And that's basically what Mike has done. So when he came in, he didn't have any welding experience. He didn't have a whole lot of fabrication experience, so it was all just on-the-job training. And he really picked up the knack for wanting to learn how to weld and lay beads and really be phenomenal in that aspect. So he bought himself a welder for home. He would learn how to weld watching YouTube videos and looking at all these other guys on Facebook that build motorcycle chassis and different things, and contacting them and asking them what they do. And the guys here at our shop, the guys were good at welding, but nobody had taken it really to the next level for what we needed. We were sticking stuff together with good precision, but Mike just wanted to be that much better. So he takes pride in his work, and he's always eager to learn, and he's done that. And his fabrication skills have come along with it. I mean, the guy didn't know how to work on a lathe or a knee mill or anything like that before he came here, and now he can go out there, he can whip out parts. He's our guy for the drag racing side on our water jet, so he can draw up parts on onshape.com, like a CAD design program that's free to use online. And he'll go, create a DXF file, go back to the water jet, cut out, 60 thou aluminum all the way up to 3-inch aluminum or 2-inch steel, whatever we need to cut out. So it's phenomenal to see the passion he has for it. And it's been, kind of slow here with me not winning as many races. And I feel bad for the guy because, I'm not winning as our team since he works primarily on my motorcycle at the races. But, winning as a team with Eddie and all that, you still see the gratification. But when we get to the win light in the final round with Mike standing on the starting line, he's beaming ear to ear for sure.
That is great. Great story. And
another thing too,
yes.
Like we went testing. So new bike, new chassis. Here I am getting ready to rip down the quarter mile at Orlando on the very first maiden voyage on this thing. And he's got his Apple Watch on, and he's monitoring his heart rate. And he's like, he told me at like 9 o'clock that morning, he's like, my heart rate's like 70 right now. He's like, we'll see what it is when you get ready to pop the clutch. So at the end of the day, we went back and looked at his data and his history throughout the day. And at 12:30, when I popped the clutch for the first time, his heart rate was at 175. It was probably higher than mine was. He was so nervous because it wasn't the first bike he built, but it was just the next newest best bike that was going to go down the track that he worked on and completely welded 100%, and it did 80% of the fabrication on. So he was nervous as a jitterbug, but he got it done, and nothing fell off, nothing was loose. We went down the track and made phenomenal runs all week.
That is great. Great stuff. And it blows my mind. Like, here's a person who just only had the want to, didn't have the knowledge already, learned it on the fly, watching YouTube videos, welds together your chassis that you say is the best thing that you've had in many years, and wins the Gatornationals and sets the national record. Like, yeah, I would be feeling proud too. Andrew, thank you very much. Congratulations. 49 career wins. The next one's going to be big. And you guys are at Vegas 4-wide, correct? You guys are at both 4-wides.
We are.
Yeah,
we are both 4-wides, and it's it's something that maybe a couple of my teammates aren't looking forward to, but I love 4-wide racing, so bring it on.
There you go. Andrew, thank you very much. Congratulations.
Thank you, Joe.
Andrew Hines with us here on WFO Radio, NHRA Nitro podcast, following up 49th career win and the win of the 50th Amalie Motor Oil NHRA Gatornationals. So a couple of weeks back, got a lot of positive feedback as we delve into some of the crew members out there, which, you hear the names, you should get to know the people. That is my opinion. And so here we go. The aforementioned Mike Mullany, who cut the chassis, welded the chassis, and helped win the Gatornationals. Mike, welcome to WFO Radio. How are you? Congrats.
Thanks, Joe. Thanks a lot.
So everyone says that you're more excited about it than anybody else. Would you agree with that? Are you more excited than anybody else about this?
I would have to agree. It's a great sense of accomplishment, to be honest with you. Be able to build a chassis for Harley and Vince and Hines and do pretty much all myself. Matt Hines designed the chassis, but I had a chance to do it all myself. So
Andrew just told us, and this is something I didn't know. Like, I know your personal story pretty well. And for everybody out there who's WFO, like, Mike is a friend of the show, always like supportive, positive statements, and, one of the good guys out there. And I didn't know that you didn't know what you were doing when you got the job at Vance and Hines, man. Like, you just were a ball of passion and want to without the actual skills, and you learned the skills by watching, YouTube. That is a great story.
Yeah, I mean, when I first started at Vance and Hines, like, I was just a crew guy. I was the guy to take the bikes apart and put them together. I had a motorcycle background. I went to Motorcycle Mechanic Institute down in Orlando for a year or so, and had that background, but I did a little MIG welding at my garage in Jersey, but that was about that. No TIG welding, no bending tubes, no fabricating, really.
And so, and you have learned that process. First of all, that gives people hope out there. Like, that is a great story for all the people who don't know how to do stuff but want to learn. You're a perfect example of someone who just dove into it and accomplished.
Yeah, I mean, I've always wanted to learn the CAD programming, like 3D SolidWorks and all that stuff. Always wanted to learn TIG welding with growing up watching Monster Garage, all the Jesse James shows on Discovery Channel, and all that cool car type shows, and kind of just fell in and started watching the guys here at the shop. I would stay late. Hey, why do you weld this that way, and why do you do this way? And slowly started picking it up.
Wow, that is great. So you have this design. You cut the pipe, you gather the pipe, you cut the pipe, you fit the pipe, you tack weld it, you weld it. It's a chassis. They unload it, they test, and they're fast. Like that alone. Andrew was just telling us about your Apple Watch, heart rate. That you were feeling this. You couldn't even control it. You were feeling the intensity.
I mean, in Orlando, right before Andrew pops the clutch, it happened when we built the first version of the street rods. I mean, that was my first big welding project. Everybody was hands on deck on that project, and I did all the welding on that one too, but it just wasn't as good. But I even got nervous when that bike popped the clutch for the first time. But here in Orlando, I got the Apple Watch, and I was like, let's see what it goes up to. It went up to 175 right before he popped the clutch. And right afterwards, I was calm all day.
Yeah, it went down. It went quick. It went fast. And you guys went out and made an impression on the Gatornationals by, dominating the category, both making the final round. Andrew coming out on top with the big win. What would you say to people out there? Like, the pit area is loaded with people like yourself who have dreams. And maybe it's not in drag racing, but the fact you were able to do and accomplish all this in a relatively short amount of time, that's very impressive.
What I would have to say is don't give up, for sure. To me, I was always brought up with the saying my dad always told me, if there's a will, there's a way. And if you're willing to do it, willing to learn, you're going to figure out the way to do it. So I just don't give up, really.
That is great. That is great. All right, now let's delve into a slightly negative region, just because they're out there and everybody's been seeing the E-Town photos, man. Oh my God, could they be any more troubling than that? Could they be any worse?
I like to close my eyes and just think that, hey, maybe NHRA is going 4 wide at Englishtown, seeing all this construction, but sadly we all know that's not the case, and it's sad. There's so many. If it wasn't for Englishtown, I wouldn't be on the phone with you right now, really. If it wasn't, really, just so many memories, so much crap talking, history is there, It's just sad to see that place go down. I wish it wasn't, but hey, business is business, right?
Yeah, well, I don't know. I think, who am I to say? But I think it's a mistake. I think that, they could have, I don't know. I don't know what the heck I'm talking about.
They could have figured out a way, I think, but hey, it happened, and we want it to all turn around, but I don't think it is. If it does, it's going to be way in the future, but we'll see.
Yeah, not there any. Once after what I saw those photographs, I don't think it's happening again. And
it just really sucks.
Go ahead.
What's up?
I was going to say,
it just sucks because that was it's my hometown race, and it was another chance for me to go home and see all my friends, family, and all that stuff. But the only time I get to go technically home is now Reading. And Virginia's a little too far for all the friends and family to come out and support us.
Yeah, it's just, as someone who lost their home track, it wasn't a national event track, but once they start tearing out walls and concrete and stuff, that's the end of it, and it is unfortunate.
Yep.
But hey, listen, you're now on the national event level and the world level, and people who watch those Vance and Hines bikes go down the racetrack, they need to know Mike Mullany as well. Mike, I just wanted to say congratulations to you and let our audience know that what's going on behind the scenes there, and the story Andrew just told us. We have to hear from you, and so now Andrew and I have talked about this. You're going to be a staple on the Mellow Yellow walking tour. We're going to come over and interview you every time you race. Are you cool with that?
I'm cool with it. I'll try not to get shy like I did that one time in Indy.
I was just kidding with you, just to reference that. But I'm glad to know that you're willing to try again. That is awesome, Mike. Congratulations.
We'll give it a shot.
Yeah, man, that was great. Big win, national record. 50th Gatornationals, you guys brought it home, and I'll see you in Vegas in a few weeks. Congratulations again.
Thanks, Joe. See you in Vegas.
Mike Mullany, preceded by Andrew Hines, with us here on WFO Radio. Mike is a good guy. I love that story, right? Like, I want to do it, and he learned how to do it. And that is the want-to factor. That is the intangible in anything. And he's got the want to, and he did, and they're getting the job done. And it is just awesome. Congratulations to both of those guys, Andrew Hines, Mike Mullany, and a big win. Now, we got more to come. We got Sean Bellemeur, Megan Meyer, Beau, Layne, all still to come up. I want to tell you about Drag Racing Edge magazine. Drag Racing Edge, big help to WFO, running ads in Drag Racing Edge magazine. If you win the EV3 drag racing contest on the mobile device, one of your prizes is going to be a copy of Drag Racing Edge magazine. That is very cool. And appreciate Johnny D and Brett and the guys over there for supporting WFO Radio. Great magazine, all kinds of good stuff. Johnny D is in the archive talking about the most recent episode. You definitely want to check it out. But I would go to dragracingedge.com, get subscribed, pick up the magazine. Great stuff. We appreciate them. All right, when we come back, it's going to be the alcohol winners, Sean Bellemeur, Megan Meyer, back-to-back after this.
This is WFO Radio.
Hey everybody, Joe here, and I hereby decree on behalf of the WFO universe, the winter is over, which means it's time to grill. Get yourself some Rodax Coffee and Grills.com, barbecue, spice rub, hot sauce, and of course, incredible coffee. They've got the WFO Radio Blend, they've got the Bang the Blower, they've got the Exotics. It's all roasted fresh per your order, representing the top 5% of coffee throughout the world. Go to RodaxCoffeeandGrills.com or give Marvin a call. 817-924-6821 for RodaxCoffeeandGrills.com.
Android and iPhone users, download the WFO Radio app. It's sports radio for racing fans.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
The ultimate racing show, including WFO Radio NHRA Nitro, WFO Radio Ignition, the WFO Radio NASCAR Tailgate Party, news, videos, push notifications, and more.
I just hope I'm part of it.
Go to the App Store or Android Market, search WFO Radio, and download it now.
Frank Hawley's Drag Racing School. Whether you're a bracket racer who wants to get better or a thrill seeker looking to cross it off your bucket list, Frank Hawley's Drag Racing School can put you on the right track. Don't believe me? Tell him, Frank.
No matter how little or how much experience you have, we've got a program for you. So if driving a dragster is on your bucket list, there's no better time than now. And if you'd like to be a pro, well, here's funny car champ, Jack Beckman.
Hey, this is Jack Beckman. Long before I was Fast Jack, I was a bracket racer who went to the Frank Hawley School. The time I spent there was some of the most exciting, intense, and fulfilling moments ever in a race car. I feel the curriculum Frank developed greatly helped me win not only the Super Comp, but also the NHRA Nitro Funny Car Championship. Frank put me on the right track. What are you waiting for?
Call them at 866-480-7223. That's 866-480-7223. Or visit frankhawley.com.
WFO Radio is brought to you in part by Extreme Velocity 3 Drag Racing. Download for your mobile device. Win your way on the show. WFO.
Now back to WFO Radio, NHRA Nitro.
Let's keep on trucking. Gatornationals winners, there are a lot of them. And I can't wait to hear from Sean Bellemeur and Megan Meyer back-to-back. But first, Hussey Performance specializes in quality copper gaskets to your exact specs. Any bore, any size, any thickness, from Nitro burning 500 cubic inches to turbocharged Pro Mods. Honda engines, tractor pull engines, they do it all. Hussey Performance makes the gaskets. And this allows racers to get the exact compression ratio they're going for. Whatever it is, if they don't stock it, they'll make it, which is super cool. And they do a great job because they have over 40 years experience in the copper industry, and they know exactly how and where to purchase copper at the tightest tolerances. We're talking about half a thou. Half a thou. Call David directly, 724-318-8292. That's 724-318-8292, or go to husseyperformance.net. One more thing, everything is made in America, which I like, including all their machines. 724-318-8292, Copperhead Gaskets. If you're an engine shop and you listen to WFO, you should definitely give these guys a shot. That is husseyperformance.net. And speaking of Hussey Performance, we promised you the Gatornationals winners. Now it's time to dive into the Lucas Oil top alcohol categories, where, just like so many other categories, we saw epic and historic performances. Joining us now, he is the champ. He was a perfect champ a year ago. Now he is the world record holder en route to another Gatornationals victory. Joining us now, Sean Bellemeur. Sean, congratulations.
Thanks, man. Boy, what a weekend. I mean, and overall, I heard your WFO radio kind of summarizing the race with Alan Reinhart, and you guys hit on some great things. I mean, I've been going to drag races for literally all my life, and Gatornationals being one of the majors, and just being able to participate in it was special. But so many magical things happened, and man, for it to end up the way it did for us, it's definitely one I'll always remember.
I can imagine. First of all, I thank you for the plug that you listen to the show. Like, to me, that means everything. Like, you just won the Gatornationals, and you can sit through episodes of WFO Radio with Joe and Alan. Like, that says everything to me, so thank you.
Yeah, it's always entertaining, man, and listen to you two clowns. It's always a good time.
So true, so true. So let's dive into the whole, coming out as champ, new look, target on your back, everybody going to race you a little bit different. Like, there's all that stuff that is in mind. Like, tell me about prep for the season, knowing that all that was going to be true and that we had this massive race right at the start.
Yeah, it's funny because with Tony Bartone's team, we had some changes over the winter, and had a couple new people come in, and new race car, and just some exciting stuff going on. So the anticipation of the season, it was huge for me, and for me personally, being a California guy, not running the Winter Nationals was something very new to me. It was very, very tough to spectate at the Winter Nationals. So it's like all my friends got to go play with their toys, and I had to sit and watch from inside the classroom. So the anticipation of it was tough for me. But coming into the season, it was like I said, some changes, and then the intention for us was to go test the week of the Baby Gators. Well, weather problems in Gainesville basically trumped that from happening. So, there was a little bit of anxiety going into the Baby Gators, just because we had this virtually brand new race car, a couple new crew members, things like that, and no test time. So you fall on your instincts at that point. You rely on the guys. It never hurts to have Steve Boggs as your crew chief, and he's the man running the ship. So, it was exciting going into the season. It was a little bit worrisome too, though. I mean, like I said, untested, and that everybody's coming swinging for you. And, which I like that kind of thing. I mean, it makes me smile, and I like to think that we can line them up and go after whoever we can.
So round one, I love the new look, by the way. The new look car is really strong. But if I remember right, take me back through that. Saturday afternoon, that was kind of a wild run. 580 at 267. You were kind of pedaling it down there and drove it out, whereas Ryan Stack was 590 at 265. So it was something a little odd on that pair.
Yeah, if you go through both Top Alcohol Dragster and Funny Car, first round, it's so easy to blame the track. It wasn't the track. I think the conditions changed a little bit, and we maybe overestimated things a little bit. But it's funny, Ryan, I'll tell you what, he's going to be a heck of an alcohol Funny Car driver. He literally got his license the week before. We all kind of watched him at the Baby Gators get his license, and he was put into not the easiest position. I mean, he's driving Tyler Scott's car. Tyler's a good driver, and he just got thrown in the thing, and he did a fantastic job. He came up to me before the run. He goes, "Well, I don't want to screw you up," and I said, "Kid, stage your car. Let's go have some fun." And it's one of those things to where we know on paper this is a round we're supposed to win. Well, I rev it up, stage it, and swap feet, and I think smoked the tires instantly. And I thought, oh no. And I got to tell you, it's quite the feeling to see out the windshield a guy who got his license last week driving away from you. And like I say, take nothing away from Ryan. He did a fantastic job in the car. I would recommend him to any team. But at the same time, we know this was a round we were supposed to win. So we got a little bit lucky on that one. I pedaled it, and it stuck, which was a good thing. And then he ran into some trouble and had to pedal his too, and we were able to get back by him. So, they say you always got to have one lucky round to win one of these things. I think that we definitely took ours there.
Sigh of relief right there from the champ. No, I can imagine seeing anything out of the windshield is not in the ordinary realm for an alcohol funny car. When certainly this past season, you didn't see a lot out your windshield at all. Opponents, that is.
Yeah. Well, and we always joke about it in funny cars. If you see him out the side window, you're losing by a little bit. If you see him out the windshield, you're losing by a lot, or you're in the wrong lane.
There, exactly. One or the other. So round two, Nick Janik is the opponent, and all the players are advancing. Brian Haug is advanced. Doug Gordon with a great, just epic run against Annie Whiteley, and so that was a very tough matchup. You and Nick Janik, he was 551. You were 537.0. So you're a couple of thou off the record at that point, and I remember that being an epic pass.
Yeah, well, and there again, I mean, Nick and his team, I mean, gosh, they're sneaky. You never know what they're going to come up with. You've seen his car in the 40s before. They've struggled with that thing, and you just knew. I mean, Boggs and I talked before that round. It's like, the air's good enough here to where that'll cater to a guy like Nick Janik, who's pretty aggressive. And so we went up there, and Steve told me, he said, he goes, I think this thing should run a 40 flat or one. Cut a light and we'll be okay. And, Nick went out and I think I was 028 light, and Nick left on me. I mean, he's a great driver. And it went out there, and gosh, I wish everybody could feel what I'm about to explain, because it's the coolest feeling in the world. Steve Gasparelli told me one time, if they're perfectly smooth, they're not going fast enough. And it went out, and just a little, about 50, 60 feet out, the thing just shuddered a little bit. It felt like a little earthquake. And that's just the thing. It's basically letting you know that, hey, I'm getting ready to haul some butt. And it went out there, and it drove right through that, and the skies parted, and it all was good. And it's one of those things to where you feel the thing really running good, and you just pray that the blower belt stays on it to the finish line, so the guy doesn't drive back around you.
Wow. Awesome. Well, those runs are rare. It's been fun in a Top Alcohol Funny Car because, if you're in the 40s, you're quick. If you're in the 30s, you're unbelievably quick, like one of the quickest of all time. And it's right on that barrier. So we know exactly when we see something extremely special. So you're able to get through that round, setting up a Final Four that includes Doug Gordon and Dan Pomponio on the other side of the ladder, and you and Brian Haug. So this is the matchup, the Johnny Lindbergh-tuned Brian Haug that has started the season off extremely strong and fast, going up against the champ. And that was a run that just it lived up to the hype. He was a little late off the starting line, ran a 41. You were on time, 0:31 reaction time, ran a 37 with a 1. So you've got the consistency thing going, too, living in the 30s.
Yeah, and I mean, you said it. Probably the biggest highlight of that race wasn't Sean Bellemeur, Brian Haug. That was Johnny Lindbergh, Steve Boggs. Lindbergh's had that record for how long? And Steve Boggs is, enough said. He's Steve Boggs. I'm lucky enough to be associated with him. That was huge for a couple of reasons. Number one, obviously, points implications. Brian and Johnny won the Winter Nationals, so they're going to be strong all year long. We know that. But just, I wish I could have been a fly on the wall to see Steve look over at Johnny after we went 37, turn win light on. That was pretty cool. And, and I don't mean that in a malicious way at all. That's what racing's all about. It's fun. That they're having a good time tuning them as Brian and I are having a good time driving them. So like I said, I don't mean that to make a negative light on Johnny or Brian at all. But I mean, that's why we're all there. We're there to go puff our chest out and see how good we are. So that was cool for a lot of reasons. It was nice to get that round win. Of course, keep collecting points. But boy, Steve Boggs flexed his muscle on that one, and to do it consistently, like you said. I mean, the class is at the point now to where I think you're going to start seeing more and more 30s. And let's face it, Joe, the conditions were unbelievable. We may not see conditions again like that all year long.
Well, the last time we had a record, like that record had stood for a long time, so it's the final round. And I just want to, piggyback what you said. It's in Heart Like a Wheel, where everyone was mean to each other, and I'm sure there's some of that out there in certain areas, but staring over like, yeah, we beat you, you stink. That's not what it is. It's more like, yeah, look what I just did. And there's respect.
Yeah,
there's a respect thing out there.
It's admiration. Yeah, it's admiration and respect. Absolutely. I mean, heck, you just said it. How long did Johnny have that record?
Yeah.
I got nothing but the utmost respect for that. And when Johnny Lindbergh and Ulf Leanders too, they came over and started running in the United States, there was a lot of speculation on how they were going to get there. And, a lot was said, hey, they can run in the 530s. Everybody shook their head. Well, you know what? They did it. And if you don't have respect for that, then you don't belong out there. They do a great job.
That's it. All right, so final round, you and Doug Gordon. This is a familiar matchup there. A couple of great top alcohol families that are both West Coasters that are going to match up against each other for the final round of the 50th Amalie Motor Oil NHRA Gatornationals. Like, that's one where we don't really need to hype the race. There's a lot of fans there that, they're just watching Alcohol Funny Car, so we hyped it. But were you guys shooting for the record? Did you talk about that number? 5:35.2, no. Something we haven't ever seen. 0:21 reaction time, by the way. Best light. Like, tell me about prepping for that final.
Well, it's, the setup of this, it goes way further than just the Gatornationals. The Gordons, Doug Gordon's dad, Mike, he used to race against my dad. Two California families. I've been around them literally since I was a little kid. Their daughters and my daughter are friends now. It's 3 generations of family that had been acquainted with one another. So the comfort level there is I don't think we were hiding anything. He knows what my deal is, and I know what his deal is because we've watched each other do it. We've raced dozens of times. In fact, part of my reaction time in the final was because I knew I had to. I would put Doug Gordon probably the top 1, 2, or 3 drivers in the country. Mike Gordon, his dad, is aggressive tuning it, and that's because Doug can handle it. In those conditions, we were expecting Gordon to run a 30 of some kind. They're that good. And one thing, you talk about the record number. There was kind of an underlying story with that. That the Sunday that we won the Gatornationals was the 10th year anniversary of my mom passing away. And my mom was very, very instrumental in my racing career. My mom actually managed a racetrack here in California. That's how my mom met my dad. It goes that far back. Well, we won the round, and it was one of those things, again, to where if the thing went out and quivered, it just let me know that it was flying. And I knew that it was really trucking because it got to the shift points faster than I've ever felt in my life. And I thought, shoot, I might have over-revved this thing a little bit. Well, it's just because it was running that good. And I get to the finish line, I get the chutes out, and the first thing I saw was the wind light. And the first thing I thought about is, you know what? I did what I came here to do, and that was win on the anniversary of my mom's death. That really meant a lot to me. And I get the chutes out, and then my guys get in the radio and said, we won 5:35 world record. And I got to be honest, that part didn't even really set in. It didn't even dawn on me because I was so focused on, hey, you know what? We just won this thing. I was literally talking to my mom, in the shutdown area. And then I kind of stopped and I went, wait a minute. Did he say 35? I got back on the radio. I said, did you say 35? He said 5:35 world record. I went, oh, man. And it turned off the racetrack, and it was pretty emotional down there just because of the situation with my mom. Well, backing up 10 years, my dad and I have an Alcohol Funny Car out here on the West Coast. When my mom passed away, we took some time off and just kind of dealt with our personal affairs. The first race we came back, we had a divisional race in Bakersfield, California, where we went to the final round and raced Doug Gordon. And we beat him that night. And Doug actually reminded me of that down at the turnout in Gainesville. And that's what this is really all about. The numbers don't mean anything in comparison to the families, the sport, the camaraderie. I would put the Gordon family at the top of the competition, at the top of what any family should shoot to be like. That's what made this whole thing so special. And what's great is the Bartone gang, they have brought me in like family. I think they see what this all means to me, and they embrace it as well. It's a moment I'll never forget.
Wow. No, listen, what can I, and I was happy to be able to do that interview with you on the return road. Like it was very special. Obviously, the Gordon family, you guys experienced it all together. It's a shame someone's got to come runner up. But at the end, after your performance, there was no doubt, like low ET, top speed, in a total sweep of the event. That is a great job. Congratulations, Sean. The 50th Amalie Motor Oil NHRA Gatornationals. And starting off 2019, much the same way you started off 2018. And so carrying that bullseye on your back is not slowing you down at all.
Yeah, that's just Steve Boggs. I mean, he's been there and he's done that. He's had records. He's won world championships. Tony Bartone the same. They are very good mentors to get us through this mentally because, they say just stay focused. The numbers don't mean anything until Pomona. So meaning the end of the year. So as great as this is, I'm one of the highs of my entire career right now, and I'm just riding the wave and enjoying it with my family. But it's about staying focused and going one run at a time. Let's face it, Joe. I mean, listen to the names we've rattled off in this interview. There are some tough competitors out there. There's more coming. A name we haven't even talked about in here yet is Ulf Leanders, and he runs 530s everywhere he goes. So this is going to be one heck of a season. Boys are going to be fun. Shane Westerfield is just starting to peak out, and so when we go to Las Vegas, they're going to see a lot of big numbers again, I'm sure. And boy, it's going to be a fun season. I'm just happy to be a part of it.
There you go. And you just mentioned Vegas. You guys will be out there. Like, what's the rest of your schedule?
Yeah, now that the season's starting to roll on, we're going to hit both the Vegas races, the national event and the regional event, and then we're going to head back east again and catch Charlotte and probably the Norwalk regional race, and gosh, who knows from there? It's going to be an exciting year. And one thing that's kind of cool is my dad and I actually have another little project going. We have morphed our top alcohol funny car into a nostalgia Alder that actually just ran Saturday up in Bakersfield. So we're going to be running some nostalgia meets with the Alder and running it in top alcohol funny car and Bartone's car and top alcohol funny car. We got a lot going on.
That's awesome. Sean, that's awesome. Hey, congratulations. Thanks for being so, you shared the moment with our audience, and I like to think that's one of the reasons they listen to the podcast. So thank you so much. Congratulations. Massive win. You did it with style, and thank you for sharing here on WFO Radio.
Awesome, Joe. Anytime. Thanks, man.
Thanks, Sean. Sean Bellemeur with us here on WFO Radio, NHRA Nitro. He is the champ, got the job done out there at the Gatornationals, and that is one half of our Lucas Oil Top Alcohol winners. Time to get into it with our Top Alcohol Dragster winner. Joining us now, the Top Alcohol Dragster winner out there at the 50th Amalie Motor Oil NHRA Gatornationals. We got lots of winners, baby, lots of winners. Megan Meyer joins us now. Megan, congratulations. Huge victory.
Yes, thank you, Joe. Glad to be back on WFO.
Yeah, thank you very much for coming on. And winning the Gatornationals, like you've won some big races in the past, but 50 years of the Gatornationals all culminating together, and you drove your way into the final round, and big final round victory over Mike Booker. How did it feel then, and how does it feel now, a week later?
Every race is different, and, Charlotte's my place to be at, but this is just as special, if not even more as special than winning Charlotte. And I've been going to Gainesville for ever since I can remember, just as a kid watching my dad race. And then I also went to Frank Hawley's drag racing school to get my super comp license. Gainesville is where I got my top alcohol license. So it is a special track for us, and to be able to get back in the winner's circle. And it's my first time being in the winner's circle at Gainesville.
Yeah, one of the majors, certainly. And all the legends and the crowd, give me your perspective of the race. We'll talk about eliminations momentarily, but with just all the extra hype going on, could you feel it, an extra sense of energy out there in the pits?
Yeah, we could. And, it's really cool, everything that NHRA did, that they put together for the weekend, and to be able to fit it all within the 3 days was crazy. Even though we did have a huge rain delay on Sunday, and then we got pushed way back, but everything just worked out in our favor. The weather turned out to be great for us. So, yeah, I mean, there's the extra hype there, and it was my first national for this year to go to. So I was already hyped up and excited just to be back at the track and to be there having the media and the TV crew. And, you know, I'm on the starting line trying to focus as much as I can on the finish line and the tree and all this stuff, but you can just see on your peripherals the crowd and the stands that are packed and the TV guys running all over the place. So it was really cool to be back on the track.
Awesome stuff. Yeah, exactly. Great start for that championship quest that you are on. 1-for-1 in nationals right now, but let's talk about how it happened. Round one, you had to go up against Ken Perry and laid down a 5:37.4. Of course, round one was on Saturday, and just extending eliminations over a couple of days. And as you mentioned, there was weather potentially rolling in. But bottom line, you got through round one, and that's always a big deal.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure that we actually had the slowest winning time of first round. So I know there was like some 20s and low 30s. And so then for us to go out and lay down a 37, it's not ideal, especially since in the qualifying, the round right before that, we had laid down a 18. So, but we had some problems in even at the regional the weekend before racing at Gainesville, we just had a lot of problems shaking on the track. So we got through that, though, and powered down for a second round and lay down, was it 17?
17 with a 7. Well, what's interesting about that round one run, you were the second slowest. Dan Mercier put up a 58 against Chris Dempke. You didn't get down the racetrack. But you still had high mile per hour of the round, which is kind of interesting. So the ET was off, but you made the speed. And memory is kind of coming back to me. Did you have to pedal the car, or was it a drop cylinder early that relit? But bottom line is you still had big power down the track, just lost a little time early on.
Yeah, and I didn't pedal it in first round, but we did drop a cylinder. And I remember from going back and watching my GoPro footage, we did drop, I think maybe even 2 holes at the hit, but it picked it up right before half track. And then in my GoPro video, you can see Ken's out in front of me, and then it lights back up, and then I just fly down.
Wow. You're picking up a couple extra, 100 or maybe, who knows how many horsepower out of those 2 cylinders powers you right on by. Second round, Julie Natus. You got to run against Julie. And I know you guys are great friends, but at the same time, my outside view of it is that's probably the race that you feel like you have to win the most, right? Against someone in a customer car.
Yeah, and my dad does not play favorites. And a lot of people come up to me and they think, oh, you got this. There's no way he's going to let someone beat you. But that is not true. He dials his cars in to run identical. And Julie she shook. She had to pedal it, so she had some problems on the track. But I didn't, obviously. But man, I had to run Camry, who was driving that car the weekend before at the second round again, and she ran a 25. I ran a 30, so I got her on a whole shot. So, my dad does not favor one car over the other or favor one driver over the other, even when it's me and my sister going up against each other. He tries to make it as fair as possible.
Yeah, my brain tells me your dad might make it a little tougher on you to try to make you be better, right? Like, I don't know, just quick assessment of your father. I think somewhere in there he might make it harder for you instead of easier because he knows ultimately that's what's going to make you a better racer.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so. I don't know if he really does that on purpose, but if that happens, I think he'll just say that.
There you go. Well, you were 024, so you left first, and an excellent light, and you ran a 17 with a 7, so pretty much a flawless run. But what really made it strong was that you were able to come back and repeat in the semifinals. 011 against Jeff Veal's 012. You ran a 17 with a 7, and he didn't get down the racetrack. But you guys both crushed the tree. What was up with the tree? Was it just, did it come on at the perfect time? Because you both nailed it.
Yeah, well, and that was, so third round was Sunday morning, or no, sorry, Sunday evening, so it should have been Sunday morning. And so it was really cloudy, and we had some rain come in that morning, and so it was kind of dark out, so the tree is brighter. And I was watching the classes before us, which was like factory stock and pro mod, and a lot of them are red lighting. And I always get this in my head that as soon as I see someone in front of me red light, I start to mentally freak out and think, oh my God, I'm going to red light. So I was trying so hard to not let it get to me from seeing those other red lights. And there's a handful of them. But, as soon as I got in the car, it all kind of went away. And I was getting a little nervous and excited for going into the semifinals. And I know Jeff is really good on the tree. I've only raced him a few times, but I know that he can nail down the tree. So I just, focused, paid attention, did my job. And I didn't know that I had that good of a light. You can't really tell in those cars. But, we still ran another 17, and we actually had to make some changes. So it's pretty cool to be able to run a 17 with a 7 twice, even though we had to change some stuff on the car.
Yeah, amazing stuff. Consistency. You could dial it in. And then the final round. Here you go now. You're going up against Mike Booker, who is the Cinderella story of the weekend. And just telling his story over and over again. His dad, he lost his dad as a young man. His dad was a top fuel racer. He felt like he was going to be running top fuel as a teenager, and then life just changed, and now he's in his 40s, and he's back to do it. The fact that he was able to get through the first round, let alone go to the final round, is amazing, and the cosmic forces and all that racer luck stuff has got to be on his side, and you got to go up against that now, and you had performance and all that. Did you spend any time thinking about, like, wow, man, this guy over there has got the energy going in his direction, and it's going to be tough to beat that?
A little bit, but I'm also really confident in my guys. So Mike was the pair in front of us in the semis, and we were both in right lane. So I watched him make his pass, and I saw that right at the finish line on the right side, he had like a gasket come out or something happened. So I knew that they had hurt the motor. So, and then we went down and made our run. So obviously we have lane choice. So we picked right lane again. And I don't know on Sunday if there was any real difference between the lanes. I know it was, there was some differences at the regional event, but it was a completely different track the weekend after. So anyways, I knew they had problems, and then we only had 30-40 minute turnaround to get back up into the staging lanes for that final round. So we didn't hurt anything. The car was really happy. We just did our normal maintenance for that final round, which is just to change the oil. So we put in 3 gallons of Lucas oil in the car, 5 gallons of fuel, 16 new NGK spark plugs, and then a set of bearings for the rods. So that's really all that we have to do between the runs, and we can do that under 30 minutes. So we were done. Everything was just ready to go. We were all running on adrenaline for that final round, and Mike was parked a few trailers down from us. And Cowboy came by, and he told us, he's like, hey, are you guys ready? We were like, yeah, the car's ready on the ground. We're ready to go. Well, they were just thrashing over there, and I don't know exactly what they hurt, but they were having a lot of issues trying to get it all back together. And so we waited, and then Cowboy came back, and he's like, okay, we're ready to go. Like, you guys need to get up there now. So we went up to the lanes, and still his team, never showed up. They ran the funny car finals, and then, which we were supposed to be in front of them, I believe. I don't remember. But anyways, they ran funny car, and Mike still hadn't showed up. So then they ran the Top Fuel Harleys, and some of the Camrys went down the track. So they were just trying to give them enough time. And then finally, we're the only car left in the staging lanes. And so NHRA tells us to go ahead and pull up. So I'm thinking, it's like, I've never won a final round on a bye before. Like, should I just make this pass, or like should I just take the tree, or like what should I do? And everyone's like, no one told me like what was going on outside of the car, because I was strapped in and we were already pulled up into the water, and we're still just waiting and waiting, and they're giving us time, and I was like, okay, like I don't care how long we wait, but I know NHRA does because we're on a schedule. So then finally, they get a call from the ambulance saying that they saw them pull out of the trailer and they're on their way. Mike was already strapped in before they left the pits and everything, so they got up there as fast as they could. And then we let them start first because I knew that they're a little bit slower than how we do our starting line routine. So he started up, did his burnout. We started up, did mine and everything. And it was really smooth. I think he shook, so he shook and then pedaled it and then just coasted, I think. And then we went the 520 at 285. And I rolled in a little bit deep on that run because that's just what I normally do in a final round. So it probably would have ran another 17 or 18 if I had stayed shallow. But yeah, it was just an awesome weekend for us. And I'm really happy for Mike. And I know the team that he was running that car from because they're from Oklahoma. So we race with them a lot back home at the regional races. So I'm just really happy for him and his whole team as well.
Well, that is great. It was a great weekend. He made max runs. Great story. Got to the final, got a lot of spotlight. But in the end, it was Megan Meyer who won the 50th annual Amalie Motor Oil NHRA Gatornationals. A huge victory. Got to be the biggest of your career so far. Just a huge, huge event. Year of hype and all the legends in the house. And you bring home the win. A great historic win. And a great way to start that championship points season, which I know is your ultimate goal. It is going to be tough, but a great way to start 1-for-1 in nationals.
Yes, that is the ultimate goal. And it's so funny because last year at this race, I barely qualified. I didn't even make it past first round. I didn't even qualify for the Gainesville regional race. And so I just did horrible last year. And then this year, to just kind of do a complete 360 and then come home with the win, it's incredible. And last year, I was so upset and just heartbroken and just down in the dumps from doing so bad, because we usually don't do that bad, but we just cannot get the tune-up right for Gainesville last year. So this year, with having the new track surface and everything else, it's just is a really confident booster for me and my guys to be able to come back to a track that we did really bad at and then to be able to be the champion. And then also it's just the best way to kick off the season. And we still have a long ways to go, and I'm not going to try to count points or anything, but, it's just a really great feeling to start off the season with a win.
Oh, yeah. Well, I think that when I speak with the champions at the end of the year, many of them, not all, but many of them build on a hot start. And that energy and the momentum and the feeling good and the working extra time because they know they got a good car, all that factors in. So we'll see how it works out for you. Megan, congratulations. Danny Pomponio, now winner in 2 different categories of the Gatornationals. Mm-hmm. One with his dad in Alcohol Funny Car, now has one with you and Top Alcohol Dragster. A lot of fun sub-stories. All right, what's your next race? Where are we going to see you next?
Next race is a regional, and I'll be in Dallas, and I will be racing with my sister. This will be the first time that both of us will be racing together. And also, last weekend, I believe it was, or yeah, time is just going fly by. But anyways, right after I had won the Gatornationals, I saw that my sister had also won her race. She was racing just doing a bracket race back home, and it was their first race of the year, and she got the win there. So it was really cool that both of us were be able to win. And then now our next race, we'll be going up against each other in Dallas, and then the weekend after that, we'll be at Houston for the national event with me and Julie back in the car.
Very cool. Yeah, so Rachel was able to win a bracket race on the same weekend you won the Gatornationals. Meyer sisters both winning. Hey, let me tell you, anybody that can just show up to a bracket race and win it, that's a big deal. So watch out for her. I know she's a good driver as well.
Yes, yeah, I know. She had a lot of struggles last year, blew up a motor and training, and had all these problems at the end of last year. So we're very happy that all the changes we made in the off season worked for her.
Excellent, excellent. Megan, congratulations. Big race. You've got it in your resume now. Gatornationals winner forever. That's a great deal. Congrats.
Thank you very much, Joe.
Megan Meyer, preceded by Sean Bellemeur, your top alcohol winners on WFO. That run he made, both of them, first of all, really booking. When you're in top alcohol dragster, you're down in the teens. That's moving out. Funny cars, quickest ever, amazing stuff. And love having the alcohol winners on here. And great event, all around, great event. Now, we've got Beau Layne during my time, brought to you by Patreon, which will be short. I promise you that. But right now, I want to tell you about audible.com/WFO Nitro. Start your 30-day free trial. You know if you're the type of person that will be into that. Audible.com/WFO Nitro. If you're a audio person, you might get into that. 30-day free trial. They got all kinds of stuff. And then use our promo code, of course, which is the WFO Nitro part. All right, we'll be back after this. Beau Layne coming up.
It ain't just wide open. It's WFO.
Hey, racers and race fans, I want to tell you about the motorsports guys. Terry McMillan from Elkhart, Indiana, has got a new venture, and we want you to hit the website at motorsportsguys.com. It's going to be a one-stop shop. They're going to have it all, but most importantly, oil, Amalie, better than it has to be since 1903, available at motorsportsguys.com. Check it out. Bookmark it, motorsportsguys.com. Terry McMillan stepping up as a supporter of WFO Radio. Check them out, motorsportsguys.com.
Start your education at full speed with the School of Automotive Machinists and Technology. Accelerate your career as a high-performance engine builder with classroom instruction and practical hands-on experience in the lab, on the dyno, and at the track. In addition to the blockhead and CNC programs, SAM now offers motorsport, EFI tuning, and an Associates of Applied Science degree. And SAM is a military-friendly school, approved to train veterans and other eligible persons under the GI Bill. Start your education at full speed. Go to samtech.edu today.
Hey, this is Scott Palmer, driver of the NHRA Cat Spot Litter Top Fuel Dragster. Do you have a cat? Go to catspotlitter.com, order it today. All natural product, made out of coconuts, 100% biodegradable. All you NHRA fan, cat owners, support our team. Go to catspotlitter.com.
Hankstafers, metalworking lubricants. You got to go to the website and check them out. And so go to hankstafers.com to find out more information. Hankstafers, metalworking lubricants, trying to make you a little more efficient in the shop.
This is Jeff Rice, a.k.a. Deep and Hot. I just want to let you know that NHRA Nitro is probably the best coverage of NHRA drag racing, period. How can you not like a 3.5-hour broadcast with all the winners specifically for drag racing? WFO rules the airwaves.
Now, back to WFO Radio, NHRA Nitro.
Final segment, WFO Radio NHRA Nitro Gatornationals Winners Edition. And we're hearing from everybody, baby, including the Mickey Thompson Top Fuel Harley Davidson winner. He's not a first-time winner. He is now a second-time and back-to-back winner, Beau Layne. Beau, you're getting good at this thing. How are you?
I'm doing good. Doing good. How you doing, Joe?
I'm great. I am great. What a race. Here we are a week out now. Last week was travel week for everybody. It's got a chance to sink in. The 50th Amalie Motor Oil NHRA Gatornationals winner is you. How does it feel?
Feels good. Every time I walk by that wall, it hits me again.
The idea that you have, what happened here in 2019, it's like you flipped a switch, and at very least, you guys have, you're going down the track. You're steadily going down the racetrack. You're putting up solid performances and turning on win lights. That's the secret to success in the NHRA. You got to get down the track.
Yeah. Last year was our first year, you know what I mean? So, learning experience got a little better as the season progressed last year. This year, we've been out 4 times, 4 different weekends between the testing and 3 races. And each time we've surpassed our ET in mile per hour each weekend. So we're getting better as it goes.
That is great. 29 first round against Mike Scott. Mike having a tough weekend at first, but then really turned it on at the end of qualifying in round one. But that 29 at 221 really set the tone. That was a very strong pass.
Yeah, it was. That was our quickest ET. You know, as you can tell by the mile per hour, it was down a little bit. I think we had hurt the motor towards the end of that pass, and that was the reason we slowed down in E2 and E3. But, hey, it was enough to get by the other bikes. I think everybody was a little bit hurt after that first pass.
All right,
let's some good passes and good numbers then.
Let's focus in on that because fans of Top Fuel would be thinking, well, why don't they just pull another bullet out from under the counter? You know what I mean? And you're talking about, no, we limped through. And I think that's worth noting that the Mickey Thompson Top Fuel Harley Davidsons, it's not like you guys are necessarily stacked with 4 bullets under the counter ready to go in for every sessions down the track. What do you carry in terms of spares and extras and that kind of stuff?
You know, we have pretty much all the spares that we need. I mean, we have 1 or 2 sets of barrels with the pistons loaded in them with the rods hanging out the bottom, so it's a quick change. Spare set of heads, miscellaneous parts. Well, after that E1 pass, it was a little bit questionable, how it was going to perform in the second round of eliminations, and after that pass, we knew it was hurt. And at the same time, Bob had got to the end of the track, Bob Malloy, and I could tell he was concerned about his bike. And then our turnaround time isn't a whole lot of time between the semis and the final round. So, we could have tried to replace the top end, probably wouldn't have made it, but like saying Bob being hurt too. And, we had to kind of gamble, just go with what we had. We threw everything at it and it didn't respond, but it looked like Bob had gotten out of the groove and maybe spun the tire. It's hard to tell what happened with him next to me, but it was good enough to turn on that wind light.
There it is. You win the race. I do want to talk about the run against Tack, meaning he was not able to make the run because he exploded it in the first round of racing. And that bike went a 6:10 with a 1, besting the previous record by, I think, 0.06 of a second. Doug Vansel, 2:37 in terms of mile per hour. So this race was a milestone race for performances. But when you're going up against Tack or planning to run against Tack, what kind of strategy are you employing? Because, if he gets what he did in qualifying down the racetrack, nobody can hang with that. That's unprecedented performance.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we had him qualifying 3 and 4. We ran against him, and I was expecting to see the first 5-second pass. I was hoping to see it. Everybody was kind of rooting for him, and, he didn't get it together those rounds. And, that's the thing with the blower bikes. They're fast. I mean, they've got a ton of power. They're pushing out the power, but, they're not as consistent as some of our bikes. So I was when I heard that when I knew I was going up against them, all going through your head, just do the best you can and cut a better light and hope for the best.
Exactly. Well, he didn't get back. Obviously, they damaged a lot of stuff. Another downside to the boosted combination. There's more to do and more plumbing and everything that can maybe get out of alignment before a round of racing. So he was unable to answer the call. But then you got to go up against Bob in the final round, which is a different style of innovation. I kind of think it's neat. Your opinion, of course. He's doing high gear only. We got these supercharged bikes. You're doing the more conventional deal. But there is a lot of innovation out there, and it's kind of cool. And Bob's bike was really moving out as well. So tell me about prepping for the final, knowing that he might be hurt, you might be hurt. At some point, you just had to throw it together and go up there, and you got what you got.
Yeah, Bob's he's a hell of a competitor. He's a great racer. Been around for a long time. Been doing it for a while. And before Pomona and Phoenix at testing, I seen him rattle off a 6:14. So you never know with Bob. You know what I mean? He's either going to bring it or he's not going to quite have it. And, I faced him once last season, and luckily got the whole shot on them for the round win. And again, that was my strategy. You know what I mean? Just you got to get them off the light and hope for the best.
There it is. And so you win the Gatornationals. When light comes on, you're in the shutdown area, slowing down, knowing that you're the winner, hopefully at that point. And, what did it feel like to know that this race has been publicized and promoted for over a year? All the legends who showed up, guys like Amato and Garlitz and Muldowney raced at this one, Warren Johnson, just all the people who have been so involved in the sport. Now Beau Layne's name is in the history books with their name at the 50th Gatornationals.
I don't know if if it shows it on film or not, but I was, I was shaking my head in disbelief. I was like, nah, that just didn't happen. You know what I mean? And then it starts going through your head. Well, I hope it didn't red light. With the bikes, it's hard to tell if you red lit or not. Then once I seen the look on his crew's face that came down to pick him up, I knew we had won. And it took a while to sink in. Driving home from Gainesville, it's quite the haul. And about the third day into the drive, it finally hit me. I was like, wow, this is for real. Number one in points right now, I believe. I don't know, NHRA hasn't updated the points for us, but I believe I'm number one. And, it's not where I expected to be at this point. We were just hoping to be battling for the championship towards the middle and the end of the season, but we're in a great position.
Well, you are. And that was going to be my next question, because hot starts, that's how championships are won. And you've got 2 out of the first 3 already. And more importantly, you've learned how to win. They always say that, right? You got to learn how to win. You got to learn what to do. And once you do it, you can do it again. And obviously you backed that up right here. You got a pretty good little formula going. So let's talk about the season-long battle that will be the Mickey Thompson Top Fuel Harley Davidson Championship. You guys sound like you're in it to win it.
Yeah, we are. And, we're not overly confident. There's still a lot of better times getting ran out there. But what we have going for us, we're coming on stronger each race, and that's going to be the key, towards the end of the season. We keep improving, we're going to be right there battling out with, the veterans like Vansel and Ty and Jay and, the rest of the guys out there. And that's where we were hoping to be. And I think we're going in the right direction. We're feeling good about it.
Great stuff. Now, was there a larger interest in the Mickey Thompson Top Fuel Harleys out there because of the bike week being an hour and a half away? I referenced that on the mic. I know it has always been a thing at the Gatornationals, being around bike weekend Daytona, that, why wouldn't you drive an hour and 20 minutes or so to see some 230 mile per hour Mickey Thompson Top Fuel Harleys, or even, our friends on the Pro Stock motorcycles? Like, you get 2 for the price of 1 when you're seeing motorcycles out there at Gainesville.
Yeah. It was, we had a few guys stop by that came from Daytona. Every race, though, our fans are such great people. They make it a point to stop in and see us. And I didn't see a big increase in the fans as of the other, compared to the other races. But we have a great group of fans everywhere we go, and they make it a point to stop in and see us and, talk to us. And it's a blast.
That is so cool. Beau, congratulations. What's the next race for you guys? What's the schedule?
We have Baytown. They're in Vegas, and then after that we go to Baytown.
All right, so you're going to dip down to Houston. Of course, I'll be there. Can't wait to see you guys out there, back out on tour. It has been a hot start to the 2019 season. You got 2 out of 3 race wins. That is a big deal. I wish you good luck to keep it going.
Cool. Hey, I'd like to thank Dixon, my sponsor for the last race. A good group of guys to work with. Go check them out online, Dixon Flannel Company, and, some help from the Sullivans. We towed their stuff down there, the Pro Stock, Katie Sullivan. And, we couldn't have done it without my crew chief, Jack, Brian, my family, and then the sponsors I just mentioned. But I want to thank all of them.
Well, you mentioned Dixon. I bring them up on the web right here. Dixon Flannel Company. That is kind of a cool sponsor, Beau. I like it, and I'm noticing the gear that you were rocking. So you're living the lifestyle as well. You got a fashion gear. We need more Dixon out there. Let's make that happen.
Yeah, we do. They're a great company. Great. They're Harley guys. That's what they do as a hobby. They ride the Harleys. I believe most of them worked in dealerships at one point or another as tech. So it fits. It's working class people.
No, that is very, very cool. I like it. And everyone, it's DIXXON quality.com if you want to support Beau. How can we make sure that they know that the reason everybody is checking him out is because of Beau Layne?
You know what? Maybe if you hit him up on social media and let him know, that'd be great.
Anyone else out there you want to thank? Big win here. Big win.
Yeah, Natalie. Natalie's been great. She's helped our team so much. Not a cooler person out there helping us.
Natalie Janke?
Yep, that's her.
Wow. You know, talk about someone who has really advanced in the sport of NHRA drag racing. He's got many clients on the social media side of the things, but not just social, right? She's helping out with publicity and all kinds of stuff.
She does anything we ask. I mean, she's just a great person. I mean, we're fortunate to have her help us out last season, and it's turned into a friendship. And yeah, I couldn't ask for better help on that side of things.
Excellent. Well, I say it all the time that racers know how to win races and cut lights and go fast and get the power down. But it is always really good, if you can do it, to have someone who is a professional in publicity and social media to get the word out. Because if a tree falls in the woods and there's no one here to hear it, did it actually fall? If you win a race and nobody gets to know about it afterwards, what's the point?
Exactly. That's 100% true.
There it is. Beau, congratulations. Great job. Congrats on winning the 50th Amalie Motor Oil NHRA Gatornationals.
Thanks again, Joe.
Beau Layne with us here on WFO Radio NHRA Nitro. Wow, and there it is. We had Beau Layne, Meyer. We had Sean Bellemeur. We had Andrew Hines, Mike Mullany, Beau Butner, Randi Shipp, Robert Hight, Richie Crampton. That's a lot of winners on this show, and it was kind of rapid fire. We didn't spend a long time with anybody, just kind of got the goods out of them. And that's what WFO is all about. Write us a review if you're into it. All right. Now, my time, let me tell you, my time. As soon as I got back from the Gatornationals, I immediately went up to Johnson City, Tennessee for Performance TV on Motor Trend, which is 8:30 a.m. Sunday morning. Hopefully you watch, Kathy Fisher and myself. And got back and was just ready to collapse. What a race, what a week, what a everything, all the travel, etc. Good time had by all. Very emotional, very fun. Factory Stock Showdown. We're going to cover that in Factory Stock Podcast. Hopefully you will subscribe and write a review. It's available on Apple Podcasts, but it's also available on Podcast Addict app and other apps that just connect to Apple Podcasts, basically. And we're going to expand it out, but if you would write a review, it would be great. Who's going to be on the show? Drew Skillman. He's going to be on. David Barton, Crash That Camaro. He's going to be on. We're going to get some others, too. That'll be coming later on in the week. Factory Stock Podcast. I had a great event. Me and my father, 40 years, absolutely loved it. Spoke about it a little bit last week with Alan Reinhardt. But now that it has all sunk in, I'm just thrilled. We got through it. We had fun. On to Vegas. Simple as that. And it's spring break for everybody out there in America. So we hope you enjoy it. Have a good time and all that. Big thanks to our guest. Alan Reinhardt will be back next week. And that's going to do it. WFO, everybody. NHRA Nitro. Thanks to the sponsors. We appreciate you. And we'll see you next time right here on WFO Radio.
WFO! The views and opinions of the hosts, guests, or callers do not necessarily reflect that of the station ownership, advertisers, or agencies.
I love WFO Radio. Oh, yeah.